Okay.
All right,
Jesus
we're going to see.
Fucking Christ. God damn it.
All right. I connected a LAN cable.
It looks like ridiculous. It did actually...
It
reached, but...
I got everything stretched out.
The downstairs is like all stretched on the fucking... I'm going to have to get an extender
it's
and
like going all over the fucking place. So we're not on Wi-Fi. We're on a LAN cable. So hopefully this will help.
I mean, we'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
But I don't... Honestly, everything that I bought up to this point has not worked. So I'm skeptical that anything that I buy is going to work. But I guess
last time, though, at the old house, putting it on a LAN cable solved a lot of fucking problems.
It did, yeah, that's true.
So I think.
But back at the old house, like my office was like literally 10 feet away from the router, whereas now the router's way the fuck down the other side of the house.
Look at that shit. It's standing fucking steady at 2,200.
Yeah, but it was doing that before too. So we'll see.
It looks a lot steadier.
I mean, forgive me if I'm dubious.
Yeah. Because
I see.
Right.
Jason said you could just get a longer cable. Yeah, I will. Yeah. I can't remember how long this cable is. I think it might be 20 or 30 feet. And it just reached. Yeah. But we can't leave it like that because it's kind of like in the way of everything downstairs.
We'll have to measure it out and get one that's about 5 feet longer.
Yeah, we need one that's like about 5 or 10 feet longer.
5 to 10 feet longer, and it'd be great. And then just when we stream, I'll just connect the fucking LAN cable. If this does it, and I got a feeling that this will do it.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because I remember that last time when we put LAN cable, it fucking solved a lot of problems.
Yeah, because I mean, it was easier at our old house because
it was so close.
The router was in the living room, and my office was like right off the living room, so it was like it was right there. Yeah. This house is much bigger, and the router is a lot farther away.
That data stream looks a lot more solid.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean. Okay.
But see, I don't even know because I talked for a long time before you said that it wasn't even connected anymore, even though it told me it was still connected. So I don't even know if anybody heard any of the stuff that we said about cat videos or anything like that. You've been getting into those palace cat videos. Yeah,
Zach. Yeah, that French pop song that we were thinking about was the one about Moreto. Moreto.
Oh God, I hate that song. And I always forget the name of the song, and I always forget the name of the band.
Yeah, it got that damn French porn star.
I could find it again if I had to.
She's like a French early 80s porn star singing it. She does a great job on it. I don't remember the name of the song or her though.
Now that he says that that 80s French pop song, it's probably the same one that we're thinking of. Yeah. God, I hate that fucking song. Yeah. I think it's just because it's not a bad song objectively. It's just that it's one of those songs that, like, I feel like he would play it at iBar, like, every Saturday. And I was just kind of like, this song again, it's so long. And I was just kind of like, ugh. Yeah. Ugh. Not again. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. It just pissed me off. But, yeah. Tom loves it, though. So every time he would come on, he'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like, man, fuck you. So it might be the same song. I'm not really sure. I have had a couple people ask me what song that is. I can't remember. The fuck is the name of that song? I can't remember the name of the song or the band. But I found it one time because I think Jen asked me about it one time. She's like, "What the fuck is that song called?" And I looked it up and I remembered, but I can't remember it like offhand. I don't mind. I listen to a lot of stuff. We listen to like a lot of German stuff. So a lot of that's, industrial stuff. A lot of that's in German. So I like that. And I like old Sugar Cubes stuff, who was Bjork's old band. And one cool thing that they did was that every time they would put out a single, they would put the Icelandic language version of that single on the B-side, which I thought was kind of a cool thing for them to do. So there's that. There's actually some French goth bands too, although generally they sing in English. Interestingly,
best French goth band was fucking Dieform. It was like goth industrial fetish. They were fucking really good.
Yeah,
they were the only. That's the only. They'd be singing about fucking bondage and bestiality and fucking weird shit, man. Weird. Way ahead of their times.
I'm trying to think. There's actually Corpus Delicti. Corpus Delicti are, I believe they're a French goth band. They generally sing in English. They might have had some that were in French, but they're really, really good. I like them a lot. But that was 90s? I want to say they were a 90s band. I think they're French. But there were a couple of other ones. But yeah, like I said, a lot of them kind of do sing in English. I guess you get like a wider audience if you sing in English rather than your native language, which is kind of sad. But I kind of feel like English is such a ubiquitous language, it's kind of hard to get away from. Gramthars is singing Du Hast in the in the comments. You know, and there's an English version of Du Hast, and it's not good. It just sounds much cooler in German, and every now and then some DJ will get it in their head, I'm gonna play the English language version of Du Hast. Like, everybody thinks it's the German version. Everybody's like, woohoo, Du Hast. And they go out there, although goths are just kind of like, oh god, Du Hast. But you know what I mean? It's that. So a lot of people like go out to the dance floor, and then it like starts with English words, and everybody's like, it's the English language version. Nobody wants to hear that. It sounds cooler in German. Well, and like I said, I kind of feel like I'm real into bands like Das Ich and Ein Sturze der Neubauten and stuff like that. And there's a mostly in German, but if you don't ever look up like English translations of lyrics, like of Das Ich songs or Ein Sturze der Neubauten songs, because it sounds really, really dumb in English. But in German, it sounds like pretty cool. So there's that. Zach says, I wonder if I should brush up on my French before my trek to Louisiana because my uncle lives out in the boonies.
Nah. There's nobody speaking French out there anymore, really.
Nah.
No.
I took French for 4 years, and it's like, I kind of remember some of it, but not a great deal. A lot of times if I see a movie that's in French, I'll understand about 20% of what they're saying, but it's been a while. John Smith says, I miss 90s goth. The Crow has a lot to answer for, LOL. Yeah. Honestly, I'm more kind of into late 70s, early 80s, post-punk, goth rock, death rock. I like that kind of stuff. That once it started going more into like the ethereal direction, I really didn't like when it was going more toward graver or more industrial. I do like some industrial, but a lot of it was just kind of like samey to me, and once everything kind of started going in those two directions, I kind of lost interest to a great deal. But there are a lot of like good bands that came out in the 90s, I will say. You know, like I said, Corpus Delicti being one of them. But Corpus Delicti sounded more like a death rock band to me. They sounded more like, you know what I mean? They sounded kind of more like a rock band as opposed to industrial or, you know, or electro or whatever, because I'm not a big fan of that, of electro or shit. I like some of it, but I don't know. I kind of feel like most of the clubs went that way in the 90s, and I was kind of over it, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying to find what that fucking Dieform album was that I used to listen to. Man, that shit, it's not here.
They are a good band, though. I like that.
Yeah.
But I want to say that's a little bit more like on the ethereal goth side, because I do kind of feel like, well, 90s, that was kind of like the big thing of, you had kind of like all this like crunchy industrial music with like this ethereal, like angelic, like female vocals on it. That was a big thing in the 90s. I have like several compilation albums of like nothing but that.
Yeah, okay, I found it. It was called L'Ami Electrique.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see if I can...
And Jason Willie brings up The Craft. I still love that movie. Fairuza Balk was like cute as shit in that.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still cute as shit. We saw her a couple of years ago at that horror convention. She still looked pretty much the same. I mean, I recognized her immediately.
She was skinny.
From like across the room. And I was like, hey, that's Fairuza Balk.
Right.
She still looks pretty much the same. But, Zach says, I'm surprised there wasn't a lot of goth stuff from the 70s with how dark and grimy feeling a lot of the movies from then feel. There was, but nobody called it that. They didn't really call it that. Nothing was really called gothic rock. I think the Doors were called gothic rock, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a thing. Really didn't become a thing until like the late 70s, I feel like. And then maybe like Susie and the Banshees got called that, like Joy Division got called that. So then it kind of started to become a label. But there was some stuff that sounded like that, what you would recognize today as sort of like goth or goth adjacent, but they didn't call it that.
If you want to hear a good album, it's that one by Diform, and everything on that album it's bizarre. It's kind of industrial. It has operatic female vocals and like really hard male industrial vocals kind of laid over it. It's just a real kind of driving but kind of spooky album. It's real good. Real good.
Yeah, they still get played in clubs every now and then.
Yeah.
Every now and then. But, yeah, I'm trying to, like, think of some other... I thought there was, like, another French band that I really like another goth band, but I can't think of who they are. I mean, Corpus Delicti was the main one. I'm pretty sure they're French. I mean, if you have time, like, look them up on Wikipedia. I'm pretty sure they're French, though. But they, as far as I know, they mainly sang in English. Who was that other band? There was a band called Suspiria, but I don't... Were they French? Shit, now I can't remember. They were good, too. They had a weird accent, but I'm not really sure if they were French, though. But they usually sang in English, also. Rebecca said, I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood last night for the first time. I was thoroughly amused, and it takes a lot for me to enjoy a comedy. Honestly, I really, really dug that movie. We saw that... I think did we see that twice in the theater? I think we might have. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then I
got it on Blu-ray.
And then I bought it for you for your birthday or Christmas or something like that.
Great movie.
I really did. I like that. It's kind of like a hangout movie because it doesn't really get like fucked up until like toward the end. But honestly, I was kind of like into the hanging out. I just really liked the characters.
It's actually one of the few Tarantino movies that I liked. Most of his movies I don't really like that much. I only like maybe 1/3 of them.
But I mean, that's a pretty good swinging average or batting average, if you want to say it like that.
His best movie he didn't direct. I think he just wrote. It's called True Romance. I really liked that one.
You know what? That popped up other day on, might have been Tubi or might have been Hulu.
Yeah.
And so, because I meant to tell you, I was like, oh, True Romance came up on the thing. Like, if you want to watch it, like, maybe we should review it. But I don't remember which streaming service it came up on. But I noticed it. John Smith says, going to see The Damned later this year for the original lineup reunion. Holy shit. Yeah. How awesome would that be? Honestly, The Damned, I even like some of their like shit that came out in the 2000s where they went a little bit more, I want to say they went kind of psychobilly, but that's okay. I like that too.
Elia says, I'll check it out, Tom. You got good taste since you got me into Corrine. I love Corrine. I was listening to Corrine last night.
They actually played.
We missed them.
In Tampa.
Yeah.
Wednesday night when we were doing the show.
Yeah, we missed
I had totally forgotten. Like, I did the poster.
Yeah.
So I knew they were coming, and I told Tom, oh, we should go see them, even though Tampa's kind of far. But
I still think maybe I would have gone. On a Wednesday, I probably would have gone to see
But I forgot about it.
I thought they were coming up here to, play at, Will's Pub.
Now, A Starry Night are coming to Will's Pub, not tomorrow, but next Saturday.
Yeah.
So we're definitely...
We'll have to take some videos. We'll show them on the show.
We'll definitely go to that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a while since they've been up here. I had forgotten, and then Imani sent me a message that they were coming because she's going, and she was like, because I haven't seen her in forever. I feel like I haven't seen anybody in forever.
Yeah, but if you want to start on Diform, that album I just showed you, that's a good one to start with. It was from the 90s. L'Ame Electrique. It's something French. I can't pronounce it. Lame. I don't know what they're talking about. I don't even know what a lame is.
Well, wait. Is it
L''Lame?
Oh, lem.
Lem. Something like that. Electrique.
I think that means I love or the love or something like that. I can't remember. It's been a long time.
Most of the lyrics are in English, but the title of that album isn't. And they used to have that whole album up on YouTube, but it seems to be missing. It looks like most of it's on YouTube right now. But then they got their other albums are up there. They're real fucking... They had really good videos. That female vocalist, I don't remember what her name was. but she was like really 90s looking fucking fetish goth with a little bob haircut, looked like something from the 1920s, and she had a really good opera voice and did a lot of nude work in the videos, a lot of art, like Bauhaus looking and expressionism and weird shit happening and snakes wrapped around them. And they did a lot of shit in France that you couldn't do here in the U.S. I remember.
France loves their smut.
Yeah. My friend John from Sleep Chamber, John's Wiz from Sleep Chamber, told me about him. That's how I learned about him. And he was fucking. Him and the Barbiturates, they were all into that weird fetish stuff, and he'd get all these fucking photographs from fans and shit coming to him, and bizarre, man. Fucking anyway, just he said that fucking they did a show in France at one time, and fucking they brought some chick out, and a fucking dog jumped on her and fucking having sex with her on the stage. It was, but I probably, it was probably only semi-simulated, kind of like the way. What do you call it? Jen from Jenna Torturers, she did all kinds of crazy shit too. We ran into her a couple times.
Well, she's from around
here. She's
here.
from here, and when you meet her, she's fucking real friendly. She's nice. It's all just part of that stage act, But they're into all that.
She used to shop at Judy's Jazzy Boutique in Daytona Beach because I used to hang out there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And every time I went in there, they're like, "Oh, Jen was in here the other day, and she said this, that, and the other, and she bought this and that and the other." So it was a whole thing.
And she's cute too. She's a good-looking girl. She's our age, isn't she?
We've got to be, or older.
Or older, maybe.
I mean, because I kind of feel like I was seeing them live, going back to when I was just out of high school. So that must have been like early to mid '90s.
If you don't know the Jenna Torturers, it's a good Florida fetish goth industrial band.
They're best to see live because their live shows are like really entertaining.
Yeah. The best album to start off with that is fucking Jenna Torture's 120 Days in Sodom, I think is the name of it.
Or 120 Days of Jenna Torture.
120 Days of Jenna Torturers.
I have a shirt of that somewhere.
Yeah. Let me see.
Rebecca says, I'm still listening to the Lost Boys soundtrack. Cry Little Sister never gets old.
Yeah.
You know what? Paul Vane just played that at Mannequins when we were there last Friday. Matter of fact, when we first just got there, like early in the night, he played it.
Yeah.
But I used to have that soundtrack on cassette. I still love the Lost Boys. That's a great fucking movie. It's one of the best vampire movies. I'm not super into vampire shit, but
That's the Jenna Tortures album you want to start with.
Yeah.
That's Jen.
Yeah, I have a shirt with that on it.
Yeah.
Someplace.
It's a real good album.
I mean, if you're into it's kind of. I don't know. I kind of feel like the Jenna Torturers, that's like better. Like I said, it's better to see them live. Their albums are good, but you kind of need the visuals to accompany it. Hey, there's a ladybug in here. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's weird? I wonder, is that the same ladybug? Because yesterday, I was brushing my hair over there at the mirror, and I was like, oh, there's a ladybug, like, crawling up the mirror. And I thought Pokey would have killed it, but I guess not. Maybe that's the same one. Hey, ladybug. What's up? Yeah, everybody's talking about how good True Romance is.
Yeah, it's good. That's one of my favorite movies.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that just came up, like, on a streaming service the other day.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to tell you about it, because I know you like that movie a lot. John Smith said I'd recommend the awesome Damned documentary, Don't You Wish That We Were Dead? Okay, now I have to see that because, let's see. Always with the bots. Yeah, French smut.
I'll tell you what, that stream is fucking real solid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to have to do that then.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Well, like I said, I had the cable hooked up to the booster.
Yeah.
But that really didn't seem to be making much difference because it had a thing where you could hook it up to the booster.
It must have something to do with the memory that this thing has when it comes to the upload speed. It can't keep up with it.
I guess.
Must be what it is.
We're too much for the internet.
Too much for that laptop or something.
Rebecca says, it's not even 9:30 a.m. here, and now I have the image of bestiality in my head. Yeah, so you're welcome.
Yeah, fucking...
Can I just say, okay, so this is...
some weird shit, man.
This is going to be a little while before this goes up, but I don't remember which one of you it was, but it's probably one of you motherfuckers that's in there right now. Who was it that recommended to me the book Cows. Tell me right now. It was a good book. I'm going to say that right now. But holy shit, that was one of the grossest fucking things I've ever read in my entire fucking life. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know how I didn't barf while I was reading it, but it is good. But I recorded a review for it today, which hopefully you will find entertaining. Although it's not going up for. Well, let me see. The book review I did for this Monday was like actually a vampire novel. So it'll be up the Monday after that. Because I try to keep like a week ahead on my movie and book reviews. I don't always succeed, but I do try to. So I've already got the book review for next week and the 2 movie reviews for next week already recorded, and the book review for the week after that already recorded. And I'm trying to think. Oh, and I watched Cloverfield today. I've seen it before, but I watched it again because I'm gonna review that one for my monster movie thing. Would you do a show about the Knights Templar and the Illuminati? You know what? We did one that was kind of about the Illuminati. I think, didn't we? I thought we did. And I kept putting up like Knights Templar and Illuminati like in the Patreon poll, and it really never seemed to win. But I'm pretty sure we did do an Illuminati show at some point. I don't remember how good it was because it was a while back. But, you know. Yeah, so Cheryl says Cows. Yeah, it's a book from 1994, and it's kind of pretty well known in sort of like extreme fiction circles as being like one of the pretty much grossest things that you can read, which, I mean, there's a lot of really gross shit out there. I'm not a huge like advocate or, you know, reader of extreme fiction. I have read quite a bit of it. It's not my favorite genre, but I'm not averse to it. It's not the grossest thing I've ever read, but it's definitely in the top 5. I'll say that. Yeah, it made me like pretty nauseated like reading it. I gotta say, and that takes a lot. So that's a lot coming from me. Sounds interesting. I don't know. Well, how do you feel about poop eating? Because there's a lot of that going on in it. And there's a lot of like bestiality, like animal rape. There's just all kind of stuff. So it's a whole thing. And I know that people. I found this book reviewing channel. What the fuck is it called? Shit, I can't remember the name. His name is Juan, and fuck, something by visions, paralyzed by visions, something like that.
You know what? There's gotta be a way we could just have another one of these routers fucking put in up here.
Well, yeah.
Ask them if they know. Somebody must know. Can we just have another fucking
I mean, I don't
Wi-Fi router up here?
I don't know.
Could probably just pay, right?
I don't know.
You don't have to have just one.
Yeah, it's like Lay's potato chips.
Yeah.
Cheryl says, who's the author of Cows? Matthew Stokoe. Stokoe. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free right now, which is what I did. Like I said, all the trigger warnings for it, I'm going to tell you right now. It's pretty fucking gross. So John Smith said, what's the grossest thing you've ever read? This book I was just talking about, it's up there. Although I will say, I kind of feel like, and I'm going to give it to the OG, like Marquis de Sade. Some of that shit's grosser. But this was pretty fucking gross, gotta say. This is pretty fucking gross. Gramthars says, my 11-month-old Brittany puppy eats her poops, then wants to kiss. Yeah, I mean, you know. You gotta love them, but holy shit. I don't know, and I said this in the review too. Look, I don't have any problem at all with gore. Okay? I don't give a shit about, like, you can cut limbs off all day long, you can eviscerate people, you can do whatever. You can do like some other shit that I heard from some other book where they stick like dynamite sticks in people's asses and blow their anuses apart. You can do it's fine. It's like I don't care. That does not gross me out. But the second people start eating poop, or eating vomit or something like that, I'm out. That just plagued by visions. Thank you. That's what that is. That is a great fucking channel. I don't know why it took me so long because I subscribe to like a lot of other like book reviewers that are horror, that focus on horror. And I don't know why it took so long for that one to come up, because that's a great fucking channel. That guy is, I mean, and his videos are like really, really long, and they're really in depth, and he takes like a really long time, and he's obviously like read very, very widely. And I mean, I don't know. I just found his stuff like really, really fascinating. And he's just like, he's very, very well spoken, very well researched, and he's read like everything. So I don't know. I don't know why it took so long for that to come up in my recommendations, but there it is. So I finally like subscribed to him. So I was watching his video today, which was the 10 most disgusting books that he'd ever read. And I said, notably, the 10 most disgusting books he'd ever read, Cal's was on there, but it was not in the top 10. It was only in the what do you call it? The honorable mentions. So that should tell you something. But Cal's, I'm going to say it's pretty fucking gross. It's pretty fucking gross. I didn't ever not want to finish it, but when I was reading it, I had to like skim through it because I said, I think I'm going to puke if I keep reading this. So I'm just going to
Taylor just jumped in.
Well, hey.
Yeah.
There we go.
What's up, T?
Cheryl said, I bookmarked it. I'll read it. Yeah. Okay. Don't say I didn't warn you, though, because, I mean, it might not bother you, but Tom, to me...
She said, Tom, have you seen Brubaker? I watched it last night. Brubaker, that was Burt Reynolds, if I remember correctly. I've seen that movie, but it's been a long time. I saw that in the drive-in. Or no, I saw that in the matinee in Mississippi for the summer. That was a night in like maybe 82, 83 maybe, I think. I don't remember much about it. You're going to have to refresh my memory, but I remember liking that one. I'm telling you, man, the Reynolds, when he was in his prime.
The Reynolds.
Brennolds.
We have to call him that.
When the Brennolds was in his prime in the 70s and the early 80s, he was the shit. Now he did make a comeback with the fucking porn movie. When he came back as an old dude, he was real good in that too. What was the name of that movie? One where he was in the
I know.
Boogie Nights. He came back in Boogie Nights.
God damn it, I love Boogie Nights.
Yeah, that's another good one. I mean, Brennolds could act, but he always kind of played himself. But he was just a southern classic, a southern original, straight from fucking.
Well,
Georgia.
now all that stuff was like good and everything, but
Lonnie fucked him up. Just ran off with all his money, left him alone.
Tila said Brubaker. No, it was Robert Redford.
Robert Redford. Okay. All right. What do
you know about Robert Redford?
Oh, I've seen some of it. Oh man, he did good movies too. Fucking Condor. Was it 5 Days of the Condor?
3 Days.
3 Days of the Condor. The book was called 5 Days. A great movie. Yeah, he had a lot of good movies. I'll check it out. Brubaker. Redford. All right, I'll check it out.
Was he in Paper Moon? Or was that what?
No, he wasn't in Paper Moon.
Oh, that was that other.
He wasn't in Paper Moon. That's a good movie though too. I want to see Paper Moon again. I remember liking that as a kid. Black and white movie about depression. Old grifter running around with his daughter and they're running these scams. That's how I remembered it. Good movie. Yeah, but what am I thinking of? There was a movie
that was Ryan O'Neal, because it was Ryan O'Neal and Tatum
O'Neal. Yeah. But I'm talking about there was a Burt Reynolds movie. I think it had something to do with racing.
That's not really narrowing it down, I gotta say.
I got it confused with Brubaker. You guys know which movie I'm talking about. Stoker Ace.
Oh, Stoker Ace. Yeah.
Stoker Ace, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Stoker Ace, yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. DJ Maniac says, I'm in the latest issue of Procession magazine this month. That's pretty awesome. Honestly, Procession magazine, I think they're one of the sponsors of the Absolution Festival here in Tampa, which, if you don't know, if you're ever in the Tampa area right around Halloween time, or early October it usually is. Yeah. It's a 3-day... Is it 3 days this year? Or it's usually 3 days. I don't know if it's 3 days or 2 days this year. But it's a festival of all kind of like mostly death rock and goth rock bands. Yeah. And we've gone for the last couple years, and it's always like a really good time. Corrine plays there, Starry Night plays there. All kind of like really cool fucking bands play there. John Smith says, speaking of books and extreme stuff, Cormac McCarthy has 2 new books coming out this year. That's what I heard, and honestly, I just heard that today because I was watching a video earlier about a Cormac McCarthy super fan, and he was talking about how everyone's super jazzed about his new books coming out. I still need to read. I've read The Road, which was one of the most soul crushing things ever. I still need to read Blood Meridian though, because I feel like that's the one that everybody recommends. And I still haven't got around to reading that, but I eventually will. There's so much stuff I gotta read. It's just like movies I gotta see. I got a big pile.
Tila is advising the ladies that Redford was looking real good in that movie. Yeah, Redford, back in the day, of course, fucking my mother's generation, fucking they love Robert Redford. All right. I've seen a lot of stuff that David Bowie did during that era, and you could see that Bowie was getting real Robert Redford-esque in his style. So I think Bowie was a Robert Redford fucking fan. He was doing the visual cues and shit from Redford.
Yeah.
Bowie actually, he would consider himself an entertainer, but he actually wanted to be an actor more than anything else. Bowie was a very good actor. People don't realize that.
I liked him in everything
he was very good.
In. He's very great in The Hunger.
Yep.
He's great in Man Who Fell to Earth.
Yep.
Labyrinth. Have you guys seen a movie called The Linguini Incident?
Yeah, I remember that one. That was good. Also,
Rosanna Arquette was
Absolute Beginners.
Was it Rosanna Arquette? Yeah, Absolute Beginners.
Yeah. He was good in that. He was good in a lot of shit. Bowie was a serious actor. Real good. But he made his name in music entertainment. And it's hard to back off of that because that's where his fans were.
But I mean, the cool thing about Bowie was that he was so versatile.
Yeah.
That, because you know how sometimes you get rock stars, and they're good at being rock stars, but then they're then they want to be in movies, and everybody's just stop it. No. Stop it. I don't think anybody did that for Bowie, though.
No.
You know what I mean?
Bowie wanted to be an actor primarily, what I understood is that's what he liked.
I can see that's kind of his whole vibe.
Yeah.
Well, his whole his whole persona was characters and doing different roles for his different. So that was totally in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. I think that's why people probably didn't think it was strange.
No.
When he wanted to be in movies, because they're oh well, of course.
Well, there were many times in interviews where they called him a musician. He corrected him. He says, "I am not a musician. I'm an entertainer." Because he's not a musician. He can play musical instruments, but that's not what he considered himself.
Well, a musician, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a musician, but it is very limiting.
Yeah, well, a musician, really, when you say I'm a musician, really what you're talking about is being a studio musician. Those guys were fucking fantastic. You know what I mean? So you give them all the credit in the world. Carlos Alomar was a fucking musician. The dudes from fucking Steely Dan were musicians. All right. That's not what Bowie was. Bowie was about bringing you a fucking show and characters and telling you a story.
I mean, there's a difference between a musician
very different
and a rock star.
Right.
Because some of the people that are rock stars
are not really musicians.
Can't really play, or they can't, read music or anything like that, but they're just really good at
entertaining.
Yeah.
A perfect example of that would have been Sid Vicious couldn't play his way out of a fucking paper bag, but he was entertaining and left his mark. He was an entertainer more than anything else.
People still remember him now.
They remember him, right.
This many decades later.
Right.
Even though he couldn't play worth a shit.
He
could play one...
Yeah.
He could play one Ramones bass line.
Yeah.
And that was about it. But that was good enough. It was good enough. He pulled it off.
He looked good. He invented kind of the proto-goth male look. That's really where a lot of the fucking goth aesthetic came from. That, and I'm gonna say that on the back of fucking John Lydon, or Johnny Rotten said that his look was goth, and Johnny Lydon couldn't stand it. He hated that look.
Of course he did.
Play a hate, If you
John Lydon was just mad because Sid Vicious was better looking than him.
If you liked it, then John Lydon was gonna shit on it. That's just the way it was. That was his thing, though.
And to be honest, I'm not. I mean, when I was younger, people like that were funny, but the older I get, the more tiresome people like that are.
Yeah.
They just, you're not allowed to like anything. You're not allowed to be to have genuine feelings about anything. They're just gonna make fun or, or just shit on you for it. I'm just kind of no.
Tina brings up that Cher was a good actress too. Yeah, she was good.
She was actually.
She was good. Yeah. She was good. So is that girl.
Moonstruck was great. Mask was great.
Yeah.
With Eric Stoltz.
So's that chick that fucking ripped off fucking Dale Bozio from Missing Persons. What's her name?
Who were you
Sonya
talking about?
loves her.
Lady Gaga?
Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga could act.
I'll give her that.
She could act.
Now, I haven't seen House of Gucci yet.
Probably good. We haven't seen it, but probably
I've heard
good.
mixed reviews.
Yep.
But I don't know. It looked. We saw the trailers.
She was great in A Star Is Born.
God damn, she was fantastic
Yeah.
in that. She was really fantastic in that. Gotta say, that was an awesome movie, to be honest. And that's
Good.
not usually the type of movie that I'm super into. And I've seen the other, because that movie's been remade like a zillion times.
That's an old Hollywood classic.
It
Old
is.
fucking Broadway classic. Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of dug it.
Yeah.
I thought it was really
Great
good.
movie. I liked
They
it.
did a fucking good job, and that was Bradley Cooper, wasn't it? The same guy that was in Nightmare Alley. That was the
Yeah.
same guy. You probably didn't recognize him,
No.
but that's the same dude though.
I'm the only straight man that loves musicals.
Well, I don't know if you're the only straight man, but you're the only straight man that will admit to it.
I fucking love musicals. Yeah. Gayer those musicals are, the more I love them.
I should show
If
you.
the gays love it, then I'm gonna love it.
I like musicals too, like up to a point. I don't like some of them I find annoying, but honestly, most of them I don't mind them. I kind of like weird ass musicals. Like I said, I like Rocky Horror Picture Show, Little Shop of Horrors, Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
I don't remember. I didn't see that one.
I have that
Grease.
on DVD.
Grease.
I love Grease. I also love Grease too.
Xanadu is good.
And
Phantom of the
honestly,
Paradise.
Grease 2, I kind of feel like, people like guilty pleasure. I'm not guilty about it.
Yeah.
I love that fucking movie.
Phantom of the Paradise.
I've seen it about 400 times.
Yeah.
I should probably show you Hedwig and the Angry Inch. You might like it. It's kind of about...
Edwards. What was the other one that was fucking good? Fucking Barber of Demon.
Oh,
Street.
yeah.
What was his name?
Sweeney Todd.
Great musical. Yeah.
They did a good... I was like, Tim Burton did a good job with that, I gotta say.
Yeah, great musical.
I gotta say.
Fucking Repo Genetic Opera, real good.
Also
T didn't
really
like
good.
it that much, but fucking Repo Genetic Opera, that was a good goth industrial musical.
They still play
Paris Hilton in it.
They still play that fucking song at the Goth Club pretty much every week.
Yeah, Zydrate Anatomy.
That Zydrate Anatomy song.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, they play that all the time.
There's a lot of good musicals.
Even though, when did that movie come out? 2008?
Yeah, it's
I think it was
old now.
2008.
It's classic
2008 or 2011, I can't remember. But it's been a while.
now. I liked fucking Xanadu. I want to see that again.
I did as well.
Yeah.
I liked Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Oh, great one. Yeah,
The
we got to
musical.
see that again.
It's so...
Yeah, we gotta see that one
the
again.
one with the Bee Gees in it.
Yeah.
And George Burns.
Yeah.
And Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
And Aerosmith.
And Aerosmith. Yeah.
Who else was in that? Like
Fucking everybody was in that.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is in
were
it.
also in
Yeah.
it.
The live television version of Grease was good. Had Belle Biv DeVoe in it. They did the fucking beauty school dropout. Remember that? And then
I was impressed. That
was a good
actually
one.
was very, very
It's
good.
a live television version.
Yeah, they did it live.
It came on my Grease album. It came Grease 1 and the live television version that came out together.
We actually were excited about it, and we watched it live.
Watched it live and then
on Fox or whoever the hell did it.
Yeah.
And I was really impressed. I was like, wow, that came out really, really good. I heard they did the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I missed it. But from everybody, like, I talked to people after, I was like, was that any good? And people were like, no, it wasn't any good.
Another one.
I'm still kind of curious to watch it, though.
Another one that's just gay as shit. I fucking love it. Fucking My Fair Lady. I fucking love that one.
My Fair Lady's awesome.
My Fair Lady's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good, Tom. It's like, that's good.
Yeah.
That's you're embracing.
Good songs,
You're
man.
embracing your feminine side.
It's not feminine though. It's just musicals.
That's what I mean.
It's not feminine.
I
It's
don't
just
understand why musicals are coded feminine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not feminine.
That seems very strange to me.
It's just they're very popular. They're very popular with men. They're popular with the gay crowd.
Yeah.
You know, the show tunes and shit. They're popular. Look, but here's the deal. Me and Jenny go to gay clubs. We go to tranny clubs. Fucking, on goth industrial nights. And fucking goth shit happens in fucking tranny and gay clubs. It's all that underground bullshit. So, the crowds mix. You're gonna fucking meet all kinds of cool people that like all kinds of shit. So, I don't know. It's funny. Like, that shit would never fly over at a biker bar. They wouldn't appreciate it. They don't have they're not cultured enough to understand that. They just like country music.
Yeah.
And the younger ones like fucking metal.
Which, like I said, it's like,
kind of
look,
a limited way. Limited.
I mean, people like what they like.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like shit on people for liking what they like, but I don't think that you should like shit on something that you're not exposed to or that you haven't seen, because you might see it and you might like it.
Cheryl says she hasn't seen Sgt. Pepper's. Oh, you got to rent that shit tonight. Sgt. Pepper's is great. Okay, look, Sgt. Pepper's is nothing but Beatles songs.
But done by not the Beatles.
Done by other people, most of them starring the Bee Gees. And the bad guys are like the fucking Aerosmith and a couple of other bands, and they're telling this wacky ass fucking story. It's like a story, musical story made up of
Beatles
lyrics, songs.
Kind of.
It's good though. It's real good.
I mean, it's not fun. Objectively, it's not good.
It's fun.
But I love it.
It's fun.
I still love it.
It's fun.
I mean, I saw it when I was a kid. It was on cable a zillion times back in the 70s. When did it come out? 78? It's Robert Stigwood.
Think of it.
He did a lot of musicals and that kind of shit back then.
Just think of it as a Beatles tribute album, but it's music videos by a bunch of bands. And it's disco.
But it does have a story.
Rock. It does have a story.
I mean, the story being the Bee Gees are playing a band called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. Like, that's what they're called, right? Mm-hmm. And they're from a town which I think is called Heartland or something. I haven't seen it in a while. And there's this whole thing about there's these golden instruments, and then this bad guy, Mr. Mustard, he's the bad guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then he steals the shit, and also he has robots. It's a lot. Someone was like high when they wrote it, but they're trying to like cram in like a bunch of really weird like Beatles lyrics, you know, and the Beatles also probably were high when they wrote most of the stuff, so they're trying to like put it into a narrative, and I don't know, there's just something really comforting about it. I don't know what it is. I just really, really like it. Objectively, it's a terrible movie, but I don't know. I'm kind of like into it.
Gramthars in there. Tom and I were in a musical together. True. It is true.
Yeah.
Fucking ex-soldiers and ex-cops when we were kids. We were in a musical together. I thought we were in two. We were both in Pippin and in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I think we were in both of those, weren't we?
I think the only musicals I was in Showboat when I was younger. I was in Annie.
Yeah.
Trying to think. I was in the chorus.
Okay.
So we did like chorus shit.
Tila said, not a fan of Repo, but fan of the Paradise is on. Okay, look, Repo.
Yeah, I love Fan of the Paradise.
Repo takes a couple of viewings. I think the third time I saw Repo, that's when I really got into it. The first time it seemed off. Like it didn't flow that well. You got to watch it a couple times. It's addictive. But yeah, and then T goes on about how good Sgt. Pepper's is. Sgt. Pepper's is fucking great. And there's some
I love that movie.
There's some about it being retro and kind of cheap that helps it when you're drunk or you're slightly like not in your rights, like if you're under the influence or something. It makes it so much better because it's just these old cover songs by the Bee Gees. And it's probably better now than it was back in the late 70s, early 80s when it came out. Because it's
well,
from
now
another
you get
time.
like the retro vibe.
You get the retro vibe.
Sure.
It's a great movie for what it is. Think of it as a cover album, a tribute album to the Beatles by disco and rock bands from the 70s.
Yeah.
And it's music videos. It
It's
showed
fun.
you in music video terms.
I mean, Alice Cooper and the robots singing Because.
Yeah.
Great.
There was
that's
some
great.
about those fucking shiny black female sex bots.
They were gold, actually. I
thought they were
weren't
black.
I'm pretty sure they were
No,
gold.
they were fucking gloss black. They had gold highlights on them, but they were gloss black. And it was very fetishy. I was like, as a kid, I was going, man, that's kind of hot. Those fucking robots. I don't know what it was. It was weird.
Camp Guy talks about West Side Story. Yeah, I do love it. I also love West Side Story.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of musicals I like, actually. I like weird musicals, but I like regular musicals, too. My creepy,
They're calling you.
My creepy phone is ringing again.
Yeah.
John Smith says, I love musicals, but that Cats movie that came out a few years ago was a bit much for me. Yeah, I heard. We didn't see it, but
that.
I heard that it was like kind of
fuck Cats.
pretty weird or like Uncanny Valley.
The original
kind of shit.
Cats wasn't any good. Evidently, Cats wasn't even really all that good to see on stage, from what I understand.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that because like 40 bajillion people saw it. Well, you have to think it was based on T.S. Eliot's Book of Practical Cats, which wasn't even really it wasn't a novel or anything. It was just kind of like...
T brings up Sound of Music. I haven't seen it in so long, I gotta check that one out again.
I saw it in high school. We watched it in our chorus class.
Becca brings up Olivia Newton-John in Xanadu and Twist of Fate. I want to come back in my new life looking like her. She was so gorgeous. Yeah, Olivia Newton-John was looking beautiful. And that was a great movie. I want to see that one again. Didn't I buy that? Isn't that on Blu-ray? Or did we stream that?
I'm pretty sure we rented it.
Okay. I want that bitch on Blu-ray. That's a good... I want a lot of those musicals on Blu-ray now that I'm thinking about it. You could just pop them in and watch them. I like having a hard copy of things.
Yeah, and Wicked Lee says, when you said that only gay men like musical, or you said something like that.
I was joking.
And he said, wrong, I love musicals.
Yeah.
Liza Minnelli, Judy Garland, and I'm straight, super straight effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said...
I'm joking when I talk like that.
Yeah, and honestly, I kind of feel like it's so fucking reductive to just say, oh, that's like a woman. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, everybody, come on, everybody likes musicals. Yeah. I like that you admit that you like musicals, because a lot of straight dudes still, even in 2022, because, you know, some dudes' egos are very fragile, I guess, will not admit that they like musicals. Come on. Now, I'm going to be the first to say, though, that one genre of film that I do not like, and I'm a girl, is rom-coms or chick flicks. I do not like those.
There's a few.
Now, I have seen some that I liked.
Yeah.
But in general, I do not like them, and I don't usually watch them. I'm a horror girl.
That one that we saw that was with the fat girl, what's her name? And they were doing a spoof on rom-coms. That was great.
I mean, that was actually really good.
What was the name of that movie?
What the fuck was the name of that girl? That was
Wilson Phillips?
it was Rebel Wilson.
Rebel Williams.
Wilson was in it.
Rebel Wilson. What
the fuck was the name of that?
And the whole thing is that
it was funny.
She's fucking knocked out. Wasn't she knocked out or something? She was in a coma or something where she was in an alternate universe. Yeah. And everything was a fucking rom-com.
Yeah.
And she's playing the rom-com game. That was great. We saw that in the theater on AMC.
That one was actually pretty hilarious.
Because it was bagging on rom-coms. But it was still kind of like a feel-good movie.
I mean, it was still a rom-com, but it was like playing with the tropes of the rom-com. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Now, when I woke up this morning, I said, man, I want a fucking feel-good movie. When I woke up, so I watched Fight with My Family about Paige.
Oh, is that what you were watching? There? Okay. Because I heard something yelling from the other room. And
man, that movie is fucking great. I love that. That was a girl from Midsommar.
Yeah.
And
Florence Pugh, her name is.
Yeah, Pugh, Miss Pugh. I watched it again. That's probably about the 5th time I've seen it, and that's a great movie. And the Blu-ray has the director's cut, which is a lot better than the theatrical cut. I know Tila said she was going to see it. She put it on her list. If there's any way you can see the director's cut of it when you rent it, they're both good, but the director's cut is better. There's a lot more in it because they're not really they're not crushed for time. But that's a great movie. Liked it.
Sorry, I had to acknowledge DJ Maniac making a Kids in the Hall reference. I see you there.
Yeah.
Podcast #1 in the charts, Belle Biv DeVoe. #1 in the charts, Belle Biv DeVoe. Yeah, that's a Kids in the Hall reference. Yeah. I guess so. I see you there. Also, Zach says, meanwhile, I'm gay as shit and I hate musicals.
Yeah. I'm on Yankee gay card.
Well, like I said,
a Yankee gay card.
Everybody's different. You can't just say across the board, oh, gay men love musicals or this, that, and the other, because I've met several gay men
a stereotype.
That do not like musicals.
It's a stereotype.
At all.
It's a stereotype.
And,
I'm going to get Rob Halford on you. Rob will fuck you up because Rob liked musicals. He likes musicals.
I mean, musicals. It's kind of it's a thing. Like I said, I don't think it's not gendered in any way. It's just kind of like you either like them or you don't.
It's tribal art form. People singing and dancing and telling a story. That's tribal.
Some people.
That's like going back.
My grandma used to say to me.
Yeah.
That she didn't. She's a woman and she did not like musicals because she's like, Well, I just want to see him telling a story. I don't understand why suddenly they start singing and shit. She would say something like that. She's like, she couldn't get behind. She's like, I couldn't buy it. Like, they're just like, they're having a regular ass story, and then everybody starts singing, and then she's like, yeah, I'm out.
Cheryl just said she got Midsommar in the mail. She loved it so much she had to buy it. Yeah, Midsummer's a good movie. I liked it.
Jason brings up Hairspray. That's another great one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a long
the Ricky
time.
Lake one. Actually, the remake wasn't too bad either. The one with John Travolta as the mom. That was actually a little bit better than I was expecting. Although, obviously, the John Waters original is way, way better.
I'd have to say my favorite musical in terms of movies of all, on top of them all be Grease. Grease 1.
I've seen Grease like so many fucking
You
times.
can just put Grease in and like and jam with. You're jamming out to Grease.
Well,
There's something
because
about teenage love, the teenage love angle, and the singing, and just they're in
the
retro
songs in that are so good.
Yeah,
the songs in that are so good. Every single song in that is
Hopelessly Devoted,
amazing.
which is not in the original play. I don't think. I think
No.
they added that.
And the original play was much dirtier.
Yeah.
So the movie kind of toned it down
Right.
some.
Now, if you want a really good horror musical, it's fucking Sweeney Todd. That's a really good. I could watch that too. I could watch that all day.
Like I said, Tim Burton did do a good job of that.
Tim Burton has hits and misses. Sometimes he gets too Tim Burton-y,
Yeah.
But no, Sweeney Todd was fucking off the chain. That was a good one. And what's his name? Oh boy, what am I saying?
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp fucking brings it. He brings it. And he's fucking scary in that. He's just this smoldering fucking psychopath released from prison with a fucking hell bent on vengeance for the shit that they did to his fucking wife and him.
Can't blame
And then
him,
he finds
honestly.
them, and then the child and everything. Oh man, all the different layers of all
Cut
this.
everybody's throats.
Yeah, and then
shit.
they're becoming cannibals and shit. Fucking yeah, that was a badass movie.
I saw that in the
Set
theater.
in Victorian London.
I saw that in the theater.
Yeah.
And let's see. Tila says the chick flick I love to death is Thelma and Louise. Same. Thelma and Louise. I don't even know. Technically, is that a chick flick? I guess it is, but honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I'd call it a chick flick, but Thelma and Louise is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
That is like such a fucking great
T, T's fucking singing "Hopelessly Devoted" in there. T, if you fucking like Midsummer, man, go see Fighting with My Family. You'll like that movie. It's good. It's that same girl, Pugh. She's in it. She plays Paige, the wrestler, and it's her life story and all the bullshit that they went through, and it's kind of a feel good movie. The Rock's in it, and it's filmed right here near where me and Jenny used to fucking hang out all the time. It's cool because she's sitting up in the damn window of her apartment training to be a wrestler, looking down the freeway that me and Jenny go across all the time. It's very much
because I was like, hey, I recognize that sign.
very much a Florida movie about a British girl who ends up in Florida to become a fucking wrestler, and it's just a good. One of the things about it is it's kind of cool when they show Florida. It's kind of a truism. Nothing in Orlando is old. Everything is new. The city's not that old.
50 years ago, everything was like a swamp.
Nothing was here. Everything's new.
Pretty much. So.
And it's just a different feel here, and that film kind of captured it. Another good Florida movie would be Pain and Gain. I'm going to watch that one probably tomorrow. That's another one that's got The Rock in it. Pain and Gain was a fucking great with Mark Wahlberg. He's in it. And it's based on a true story. Another one based on a true story about a murder that took place there. These fucking idiot-ass muscleheads fucking killed some dude trying to make money out of him.
We did a show about that.
Honestly,
and I've been watching like Bizarre Murders, that true crime show, and they did a fictionalized version of it.
Yeah.
And I just saw it last night. It's on
Pain
TV.
and Gain. Done by the dude that did all the Transformers with Michael Bay. But you wouldn't know it was a Michael Bay movie. It's
surprisingly light on explosions.
Light on explosions. good character building, good humor in it. It had a fucking great feel to that movie, and true to South Florida. It captured the feeling of this place. It's a good movie.
John Smith says, "Don't like chick flicks. I raise you fried green tomatoes and steel magnolias." Okay, I'll give you those.
I don't know those.
Both of those movies are actually pretty awesome. And not gonna lie, I did cry at the end of Steel Magnolias when she died. So
Tila says she's gonna see it. Okay, T, go ahead and see that
one. And then Tila asked, "Did I see Pieces of April?" I did. But it's been like a long time since I've seen it, so I'd have to like rewatch it. Yeah. Kayla asks, does anyone like the awesome movie The Thing from 1982? Yes.
What are you talking about? We done a whole show on it.
Everybody.
One of my favorite movies.
I mean, honestly, whatever day it is, it's definitely in the top 3.
Yeah.
My top 3 horror movies, kind of changes from day to day. It's going to be The Thing, it's going to be The Shining, and it's going to be The Haunting from 1963.
Yeah.
And those 3 kind of like, vie for the top spot on whatever my mood is that day. But I mean, The Thing, I have seen it so many times.
My dad took me to see it.
So good.
My dad took me to see that 3 times in the theater. That bitch fucking had me riveted. Fucking scared me. All right. I loved it though. That solidified Crossell in my mind as a legend. That one, and
Escape from New York.
That one, Escape from New York.
Sure.
But fucking no, man. The fucking Thing. Woo! And the 2011 The Thing, which is the prequel, is also very good.
That's actually pretty good too.
Real good. The problem with The Thing 2011 is that the guys that wanted to make it wanted it to be a Thing homage, and they wanted all practical effects. And evidently they came out looking really good. But then the studio that wanted to market it said, well, it looks kind of old-fashioned. We want to cover all these practical effects with CGI. Which totally ruined the practical effects. The CGI looks okay, but man, it would have been a lot better if it was the practical effects.
Because honestly, people nowadays that are in their 20s still talk about the original Thing, which is practical effects.
Yeah.
And I think I said this in one of my reviews that I did. I don't think it's gone up yet, but the problem with a lot of movies that came out like during the dawn of CGI, where everybody's all excited about CGI, and it's like, oh my god, we can like we can render entire monsters in CGI, which probably looked cool in the 90s when it came out, but you watch it nowadays and it looks like ass.
Yeah.
Whereas if you see something from the early 80s that they actually made practically, like as a puppet or whatever, it looks way better.
Yeah. See, here's the problem.
It doesn't age.
There's a certain amount of people that are very unsophisticated. When they go to see these damn movies, they want realism. You don't really want realism. Reality doesn't look that good. You want theater. And the original Thing was very theatrical. It got its message across to you. It didn't need realism. I mean, there's a lot of shit in there if you really pay attention that doesn't make any goddamn sense. All the blood is green. And it's because they're trying to get a damn R rating instead of X rating. And they couldn't show blood all the time, so they would do green stuff. But you don't really notice it. It's alien blood anyway.
Yeah, so you buy it.
So you're buying into it. You have certain generations of the day, they're totally immune to imagery. You could show them any kind of image. They don't really have a reaction to it because they grew up with these little tablets and phones in their hands. They see imagery all day long. That wasn't the situation back in the 80s. You only saw really good imagery in the movie theaters. You didn't really see it on TV. The resolution was real low, and it looked kind of fake. So you had to build up a story based upon characters and suspense and music, and it was theater. It's theater. It's not realism. And Thing Part 1, or that first Thing from the fucking 80s, actually that's the second Thing, it had that. And it was because it was an alien that was believable. I was like, man, something like that could really exist. It was nothing like a human being. More like a fucking amoeba and a virus mixed in together. Which is plausible. If there's an alien creature that kicks ass and has fucking existed in space forever, it would be biologically superior to everything. That it could just grab something, absorb it, and learn from it and become that. They ripped that idea off, I believe, from H.P. Lovecraft's version of the Shaggoth, which was one of the slave races to the old ones. And it eventually got a hold of a brain and became a damn super being and overthrew the old ones. That description is kind of what you see with the Thing. It's just a fucking frightening concept. An amoeba that can mimic anything.
Which, like I said, if that landed on the planet, we would be fucked.
You'd be fucked. There'd be no way to stop it.
We'd be fucked.
And it is just biological.
Scariest monster for sure.
Yeah.
By a long
shot.
stretch.
There'd be no way to stop it.
Nope.
It would be the pinnacle of evolutionary biology. You could not evolve into anything better than that. It could just mimic anything that it comes in contact with. So it could survive anywhere. If it got a hold of a brain, it would not only have that intelligence, it would have all that knowledge. And it would just do that over and over and over again from one world to the next. It would become the supreme being. It's just frightening. Frightening concept. Now, the xenomorph from Alien was pretty good, but you could fight that. You couldn't fight the thing. And I think part of the inspiration came from the Blob. The Blob was kind of like that. But it didn't learn from you. It just absorbed you and got bigger. It was just a mindless amoeba. This was more like H.P. Lovecraft's Shaggoth. More like that. If it got a hold of your head, could become you.
Which, seriously, the world doesn't need one more of me, that's for sure.
It would know everything that you knew. It would know everything that you would know and could mimic you and fucking... And oh, man, no. That'd be a badass monster.
That's what I'm saying. I honestly can't think of like a more peak, scarier monster than that.
No.
You can't fight it because you don't know what it looks like. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
it can adapt to anything.
And it would know everything.
Sure. And it would have all the knowledge. So like I said, you would not be able to fight that.
Couldn't fight it.
If that came to Earth and was unleashed like that,
It'd be over.
Yeah, we'd be hosed. Big time.
It would have the highest IQ that it came in contact with. So it would very quickly have 145 IQ. And then it would just start swallowing up educated people, and it would know everything that they would know. And it would work its way up the food chain. And it would get big. So it wouldn't be one thing. It would be thousands of things walking around. It would be a whole rock concerts, whole countries, whole nations of fucking things coming after you. And they're all in communication with each other, like through Wi-Fi somehow. So, no, they'd be unstoppable. No way to defeat it. In second place would be the creatures from Slither. They were close to that, real similar. That'd be hard to stop too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tila says, "Is Clueless a chick flick? If so, I like that one." Is it? That's the thing. I kind of feel like people maybe sometimes use chick flick as just kind of like a broad umbrella term for any movie that has like women as the main protagonists.
Yeah.
But that's a little problematic. I kind of feel like when I say chick flick, I usually mean either like a rom-com situation or a movie that is completely themed around a romantic relationship that usually has some kind of like happy ending, like, oh, they got married at the end or something like that. That's what I'm talking about. So Clueless, I don't think I would necessarily call that a chick flick, but Clueless is awesome. I just kind of feel like I would call that a comedy. But I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I haven't seen it in a while, but I do remember. Really
John Smith asked, "If you're copied by the thing, do you know you're a thing?" Kressel asked that same question in the bonus fucking material inside the damn Blu-ray. You know, they didn't know. The guys making the movie weren't sure. The actors. You know, do you know you're the thing when you're the thing? I'm going to say, yeah, you do know you're the thing when you're the thing, because the thing showed the ability to plan and foresight. So it knew that it was the thing. The thing is that you might be the character that you are. In other words, like if I get absorbed, Tom Ross is not really the thing. The thing is now pretending to be Tom Ross. I'm the camouflage. So the Tom Ross character may not know, but the overlord inside of me would know. But I would think, I would think that you know.
They seemed to. I mean, the way they behaved
ahead.
in the movie.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, they seemed to have, like, their own goals for shit. Yeah. So they did seem to be, like, self-aware in that sense.
The Tom Ross character would just have been in camouflage. It just would have been an act. but it would be able to mimic you perfectly because it would have all your knowledge and all your traits. So it would be a perfect representation of me, other than the things that weren't biological.
You could be a thing right now.
It could be a thing. But the thing is that it wouldn't have fillings, or it wouldn't have any kind of implants, no metal screws in it or anything. Because they found out later on in the second one is that, the copy is only biological. There's nothing inorganic in it.
Yeah.
So if you had anything inorganic implanted in you, it wouldn't be carried over.
Like a metal hip or something.
Yeah, right, yeah. Or fillings.
Tila says, Devil Wears Prada is another chick flick I love. I remember liking that one. I think I saw that in the theater, if I remember correctly. The main takeaway, I might have also read the book. I kind of feel like I read the book too. But maybe, I don't know. I've read so many books I forgot. But I might have read the book as well. But the main takeaway from that movie, I know this is fucked up, from however long ago that I saw it, my main takeaway from that movie was that Anne Hathaway was supposed to be a size 6 and was also supposed to be fat. So I was just I was watching that movie going, size 6 is fat now? Okay. So we're doing that. And I was just I know that they were like making fun of that attitude, but the fact that everybody in the movie was calling Anne Hathaway fat through the whole movie, I was just like, this is very, very disturbing to me. Because she is very clearly not fat by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, so that really did kind of bother me. And I was actually reading an article about that the other day, like that somebody was kind of talking about that era of movies and how that was kind of a thing. They were talking about that and what's the other one? Bridget Jones's Diary, which kind of had a similar kind of thing with like a girl that wasn't really all that fat. Like, and the main plot point was that everyone called her fat. So yeah, so there was that. Let me see. I saw some other... Jen, did you review Pan's Labyrinth? I still haven't. I kind of feel like I want to do like all these Guillermo del Toro movies. I just did Shape of Water, and I did Devil's Backbone, and I've been wanting to do Pan's Labyrinth. I want to do Chronos as well, and actually I have that like on DVD in here somewhere. And so that's another one that I've been wanting to do because I kind of feel like that's one that a lot of people don't talk about. But I will get around to it eventually, I promise, because I do really love Pan's Labyrinth a lot. Let's see. Yeah, Tila said the blood test scene in The Thing had me biting my fingernails and toenails, so gripping. Yeah, I mean, that's the blood test scene.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's really one of the best, like, tension-building scenes in all of cinema, to be honest with you.
Well, Jenny, I would have to say that the LAN cable was the solution to the problem.
That really does seem to be working, doesn't it?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, so we're just gonna have to get.
We gotta get a longer cable.
Yeah, I can just get a longer cable.
Okay.
In the next couple. I'll just order another cable later tonight or tomorrow, and then we'll figure it out. So that's good. I guess that solved that problem. It's making me like not be so angry and frustrated about it. Let's see. What are we talking about? The Woman in Black. Tila says I hate movies with happy endings. Well, it depends on. I don't like happy endings that are unearned. I don't like happy endings just for the sake of having a happy ending because they're like, oh, we don't want audiences to get bummed out about it. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like if it should have a shitty or sad ending, then it should have a shitty or sad ending. Don't like fucking puss out about it. You know what I mean? Let's see. Damn it, it's snowing. Oh my god, I wish. It's like... It's 80-something degrees down here. It got fucking hot again. Jesus Christ.
Another thing that, another thing that was a trip about fucking The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, is that the black characters were not cannon fodder. Usually in a horror movie, the black characters got killed off early.
Especially in the early 80s.
Yeah, they got killed off pretty early. Fucking no, man. Keith David. You had Keith David. Okay, you had Keith David in that bitch. And fucking he hung out to the very, very end. It was just him and Crustle at the very end. Not sure who's the Thing. Yeah. And even what was the other black dude's fucking character name? Not Childs. I think shit. Even the other black dude hung out for a long time. And fucking he had a good character too. Remember that? Fucking he cut fucking McCready loose. He cut the fucking rope, man. Because I didn't know I cut him loose. I found this. And remember the torn up fucking jacket? Yeah, that was some fucking wild shit. And me at like, I don't know, I guess about 14 or 15, I'm buying into this, you know what I mean? I'm just like totally into this fucking movies. Saw it fucking like 3 times in the theater. Just stuck in my head. My dad took me to see that shit like fucking 3 weekends in a row when I was visiting for the summer down in Mississippi. And my dad was like, "You want to see that again?" I was like, "Yeah, let's see it again." Fucking, we were absorbed with that shit. He loved that movie too.
Which one?
The Thing.
Oh.
What was the name of the other black character? It wasn't Childs. Childs was Keith David's character, right?
I don't think I've ever.
He was Childs. The other black dude's name. He was the guy who was the cook. Remember? And he cut McCready loose.
Yeah.
And he falls to his knees. That thing, and he's going, "I cut him loose. I found this. What if we're wrong?" And all that. Cause that's like it was just like it was the story.
T.K. Carter as Knowles.
Knowles, that's what it was. Knowles. That was another good character. Well, he was very different from Childs. They were almost kind of like opposites, because Knowles was kind of like the sensitive guy. Childs was the fucking alpha motherfucker, you know? And it was just, man, it was just a classic movie. Just talking about me makes me want to see it again, as drunk as I am.
I mean, that's another movie that I never get tired of.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's kind of one of those movies. It's that movie and The Shining.
Yeah.
Like I said, even though I've seen both of those probably like 100, 200 times, if you said to me right now, "Hey, you want to watch The Thing, like the original," or "Hey, you want to watch The Shining?" Sure.
Yeah.
I'll watch them just over and over again.
I think that was Windows that was going, "But what if we're wrong, man? What if we're..." Then fucking Child's like, "But then we're wrong. Fuck it, then we're wrong." But hey, it was a fucking emergency situation. If we're wrong, then we're wrong. They were just going to try to damn err on the side of fucking safety.
Well, I mean,
you know? But The Thing has to know that it's The Thing, because it set McCready up.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's self-aware.
It's self-aware, right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it knows it's The Thing.
Keith David's The Man. They Live is my favorite movie. Oh my God. I love They Live.
The fight scene from They Live.
What is it, like 6 minutes?
Yeah.
That fucking alley fight.
To put the damn glasses on.
That's so fucking great.
Put the damn glasses on.
I love that they did that big long fight, and then he's just finally like, "Okay, I'll put the glasses on."
Well, the scene had a deeper meaning. Is that between whites and blacks, they weren't the enemies. The enemy was from outside. Okay. The enemy was from outside. It was an alien enemy. And he's going, look. Remember that? Yeah. Put the glasses on. He goes, "Oh, okay, I see it." And then they both see that the enemy was from outside. There's something to that, people. It's what fucking Ian Fleming called Spectre. That's exactly what they're talking about.
Wayne Dalton says, "Hey guys, if you like the movie The Thing, you might want to watch the free short film by the director of District 9. Ooh, that's also a great movie. Called Volume 1 Zygote. I think you'll both like it.
The problem with District 9 is that they never did follow up on the story with District 9. I know he made his statement, but there should have been a sequel to that.
Yeah, but you can't make a sequel to everything. And honestly, I kind of feel like a lot of movies that did need sequels never got one because, you know... Yeah. I'm honestly surprised that movies get made the way they get made nowadays, much less like another one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. DJ Maniac says the dude who played Windows is actually a friend of his. He was the one in the Warriors that got thrown under the train.
That's right!
I haven't seen the Warriors in so long, man.
My
God. Probably need to see that bitch again. Definitely.
I used to have it on DVD. I don't know what happened to it. I must have lost it when I moved. Because I feel like I lost a lot of stuff like over my moves over the years, but I'm pretty sure I used to have it on DVD. Not anymore though. I think it's on. It might be on Shudder or Amazon Prime though, because I'm pretty sure I just saw it the other day when I was scrolling through. Yeah. Cheryl says the dog scene gave me nightmares as a kid. I mean, that's still really fucked up. Yeah. The special effects in that, I will fight you. I mean,
they hold up.
They still look really fucking good.
They do the job.
They look really good.
Yeah. Oh shit! What was I gonna say? Never mind. No, they're talking about the thing, the best fight movie ever. Or They Live. Oh, They Live. Yeah, that was good. That was a good fight scene.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like so. It was hilarious that they just like kept going and going and going.
Yeah,
It's like, so fucking funny.
The second thing was a prequel. I said that. That was what happened.
Yeah, it was the Norwegian
camp, and it's also excellent movie. Excellent movie.
It was actually. I wasn't expecting it to be good, but it actually like was better than I was expecting.
It was good, real good.
I wish they'd done practical.
They did, but they covered them up.
I know.
Fuck. They should have done it. They should have had 2 different versions. But
I'm gonna say, man, horror movies, practical effects always better. I would rather see a shitty looking puppet than shitty looking CGI.
Yeah.
And
well, evidently, from what I heard, from what they said, the practical effects were great.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they were.
They were great. But it was the studio said, well, we want a more modern looking movie. And they covered them up with CG.
So we want everything to look like a shitty ass video game.
Well, it didn't look shitty either.
It looked good. The CGI looked good.
It looked good, but
practical would have looked better.
Practical would have been more in the theme of the original. But the original had really good acting. That's really what carried that movie. And another thing is that the balls of the movie, there weren't any female characters in that cast. And that was unusual even for the 80s.
Yeah.
But they said, no, fuck it. This is fucking Antarctica.
Well, I mean, usually they throw like a token female in there, like as a love interest or some titties or something.
Exactly.
But that one had 0 women.
No. Carpenter was like, fuck no. This is Antarctica.
Well, he went the realism route.
And there's no women volunteering for this shit, man. They're on a weather station out in the middle of fucking nowhere, man.
Because we're smart. We wouldn't.
Yeah, they're not up down here. You know what I mean? And these were all basically ex-military guys. You know, that's who was there. You know, you got fucking ex-Navy and ex-Army guys. I mean, you guys aren't really reading between the lines, not being ex-military. Maybe you don't understand it. I don't know. But you look at McCready, and McCready is an Army cavalry air officer. He's from the 1st Cav, okay? The hat and shit, that's what they're talking about. So he's a Vietnam veteran, okay, from 1st Air Cav. And then the other guys are probably shit like Navy communicators, like Windows. Windows would have been a naval radio operator, also known as a communicator. And then the other guys, Knowles, would have been like a Navy or an Air Force cook, you know, or maybe Army cook. It's hard to say. You look at Childs, and that's fucking Army infantry or something. You know, these are all ex-military guys from Korea and Vietnam. That's what they're talking about. That's the only dudes that went to places like that. They were ex-military contractors for the government, and that's the way those camps would look, and they would suck. They would suck. You'd have. It was like it was when I was stationed in fucking Egypt at the MFO mission, fucking, which is a UN mission enforcing that peace treaty between the Israelis and the Egyptians. When you looked at their compound, that's the way South Camp looked from the MFO. South Camp was bigger, but it's that same shit. If you were to pick part of South Camp up and put it up in Antarctica and only have fucking 12 guys on it, that's what it would look like. Yeah, they got blasteroids. What was it? Asteroids Deluxe. That's it. And they're just trying to run that damn camp. So, no, I'm with it. I'm like, that's it. That was very realistic.
DJ Maniac says the thing is currently free on Tubi. Last I looked, yeah. As far as I know, at least I was on Tubi today, and the thing was on there. Yeah. So yeah, you can watch it for free, no excuse. Kanavatsalon says, by the way, Jenny, I heard the movie Hellbender is a good one. I've been hearing a lot of good shit about that one. That was one that Shudder just put up, I think, last week, and I've been seeing a lot of good buzz about that one. So yeah, I definitely will probably watch that one this weekend, and maybe we can talk about it like on one of the matinee shows next week, perhaps, because I do actually want to see it, because I have been hearing a lot of good about it.
You're in there talking about the score from They Live. Yeah. Da-da, boom, 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 boom. Da-da. Yeah, fucking Carpenter. Carpenter wrote that shit. He could be a genius when it came to fucking scores. He was hit or miss, but when he was hitting, he was hitting. He was really hitting.
I still kind of want to watch some of his later shit.
Yeah.
But
some of that shit I don't think he had anything to do with.
Well, what was the movie that he did?
Ghosts of Mars didn't seem like it had anything to do with
Well, I've seen that. It's not good. I wanted to see The Ward which I think came out in, I want to say 2004, but it might be later than that. I haven't really heard much one way or the other about that. I'm imagining it sucks, but I don't really know. Because I kind of feel like I love John Carpenter, but it does kind of feel like his best shit was his old shit. But, you know, that's okay. We can't all be... Look, the man made fucking Halloween and The Thing and Escape from New York and fucking Jesus Christ. That should be more than enough.
Well,
you know?
Halloween.
Well, I said Halloween.
Oh, did you say Halloween?
Yeah. And I was just kind of like, well, you know, most of us will never do that.
Yeah. And Friday the 13th Part 3.
He didn't do that.
Oh, he didn't do that?
No.
I thought he did that one too. Okay.
No.
Not Friday the 13th. I mean, Halloween 3. Didn't he do that score to that?
Well, he made it
Halloween
as a
3?
score. I don't think he had that much to do with it.
Okay.
I mean, he did, but I don't know how. I don't remember how involved he was with that one.
Okay. Halloween 3 was one of my favorite movies because I had never seen Halloween 1 or 2. I just fucking jumped in at 3 as a kid, and I was like, man, I love this movie. With
like I said,
with the damn silver shamrock.
I kind of feel like it was one of those movies people didn't love it at the time. We've talked about that. It's you know, people didn't love it at the time because they were like, "Where's Michael Myers? I don't get it."
Yeah.
But you know, now everybody's kind of like, "Oh my god, it's awesome." But you know, it's that kind of thing. It's kind of sad because I kind of feel like John Carpenter's movies, other than Halloween, which was like a massive fucking success at the time that it came out. But other than that, it really does seem like most of his shit, it needed some time to, like, fucking age. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even, like, Escape from New York, even The Thing, didn't really do all that great when it was out in the theater. People were like, meh, or whatever, for I don't know why, but it really took, like, a long time for it to...
Even Escape from L.A. got better as it got a little bit older. I mean, even though it was fucking wacky, the fucking... The tone
I still can't sit through it.
The tone wasn't quite the same.
I still can't sit through it.
Yeah, tone wasn't the same, but I kind of like it. It's kind of a parody, but it is all right. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. I think
maybe one of these days
a re-edit,
a
re-edit probably would have been a little bit better. I think you could have gotten that same tone. It was a little too funny, too comedic at certain points.
That was the problem I had with it.
Yeah.
Because. Okay, mixing horror and comedy, those two things go very well together if you know what you're doing. It's a very difficult balancing act.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like it's something that a lot of people attempt and very, very few people can pull off successfully. Strawdog78 says Cigarette Burns was solid. It was indeed. Actually, that was probably one of my favorite Masters of Horror episodes. I just really liked the whole concept of it. I mean, fucking Udo Kier was in it. Norman Reedus was in it. It was fucking great.
Yeah. T thought Season of the Witch was good. I liked that movie. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Well, like I said, a lot of people didn't like it at the time because it wasn't...
They were expecting...
They were expecting something else.
Yeah, I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
When I saw it.
So in some ways,
I didn't know anything about
this is why I like to come at movies with as little baggage as possible. I mean, it's kind of hard to do that, especially if it's an older movie, because you're gonna have heard like some shit about it one way or the other. But if it's a newer movie, I don't even really like to read the summary or anything like that.
That last brand new Halloween that we saw. From
Halloween Kills,
they had some silver shamrock masks in that. When we saw that, I was tripping. I was like, Jenny, man, they need to make another one of this looking Season of the Witch reboot, because they tried to tie them together in that last one just a little bit.
And I remember when we saw that movie, we were like talking about it on the way home. It's like, ooh, now they should totally do a crossover with the Silver Shamrock Company.
Yeah.
And then the next movie that they do. Because, like I said, they did the Halloween remake in 2018, and then they did Halloween Kills. And I said, well, now the third one should be like Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
So it's like a new trilogy.
Yeah. Well,
so they should make that one and tie it in with Silver Shamrock. That's what I would do if I was writing this shit, but I'm not, obviously. Nobody's paying me the big bucks. But that's what I would do. Because, you know. Wayne Dalton says The Void from 2016 has a Carpenter the Thing vibe to it. I agree. I really, really did like that movie. And I've seen that like a couple of times. It has like a John Carpenter thing. It's like a Lovecraftian thing. Because like I said, John Carpenter was really into Lovecraft. And a lot of his stuff, while not overtly Lovecraftian, was in spirit kind of Lovecraftian. So The Void had that as well. If you haven't seen The Void and you like John Carpenter movies, yeah, you should totally watch that one too, because that's really good. Really good. And, Season of the Witch would be a good one to remake. Yeah, I kind of feel like they could do a lot with that concept. It's a ridiculous concept, but that's okay.
I said that they should have remade that years ago.
I mean,
on the show, I was like, this movie's ripe for that.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about that. Like I said, I'm not averse to remakes as a concept. I just wish that they would take movies that were good ideas but weren't didn't like live up to their full potential at the time for whatever reason, because they didn't have the money or whatever. And I wish they would remake that. I think like the problem people have with remakes is that people keep remaking like good movies.
Dimitri's asking if we're going to Mannequins tonight, and I said tomorrow maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go tonight. Wait, Dimitri showed up? Oh.
Yeah, Dimitri's asking.
Oh. I thought he showed up in the chat.
No.
I was like, I don't know, man. Because we did it
tomorrow, maybe.
We did it last...
Yeah.
We did it last Friday.
And there
it's
wasn't
like
a lot of people there.
Yeah, and it was fun, but it's like I wasn't really having a good time when I first got there because I was already kind of drunk.
It's 7:30. I mean, it's still early, but shit.
If I'm gonna go out, I like to have a while to like get ready and like just relax ahead of time. I don't really like being rushed.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like, when I do the show, I want to just hang out with, I just want to drink and hang out with the people on the show. I don't want to like have to think about, oh shit, now I have to like get ready to go out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm already kind of like inebriated. So, Jenny, did I see The Autopsy of Jane Doe? Says Tila. Yes, I did. I've seen it a couple of times and it's awesome. And again, that just goes to show you don't need an elaborate setup. You don't need elaborate anything. I mean, that movie pretty much takes place entirely in one room and it's fan-fucking-tastic. That's a really, really good movie. Cheryl says, I didn't love The Witch. There, I said it. I get it. It's, most people did love The Witch, but if you didn't love it, I mean, I loved it, but if you didn't, I get
What
it.
Season of the Witch?
No, The Witch from the Robert Eggers movie. Same guy that did The Lighthouse.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I don't think you've seen it. I've seen it a couple of times, and I really, really liked it, but I get it. Like, if you don't... It's one of those ones that... And I'm all for this, but I know that some people are not liking this whole trend that they call... What do they call it? Elevated horror?
What's that?
Meaning horror that has like a lot of deeper meaning. A lot of it's kind of like slow burn, or it's kind of more like metaphorical, or more psychological horror. And a lot of people don't really like that because they think, oh, it's boring. I just want like monsters rampaging or whatever, which is fine. I like that too. But honestly, like The Witch was like pretty fucking awesome. I thought it was like pretty creepy. But if you don't like it, like I get it. I do get it. But Autopsy of Jane Doe, yeah, if you haven't seen that, as I said, that's one of the best examples of one location, I guess what they would call a bottle movie, of one location horror, and it's like super, super creepy. Because like the whole time I was just like riveted, like what the fuck is going on with this fucking body, you know what I mean? And it was just, yeah, it's really good. It's really good if you haven't seen it. I don't want to spoil it, but it's really good.
In recent time, my favorite horror would have been Vivarium.
God damn, that was so good.
Yeah.
God damn
a lot of
it.
people didn't like it. I fucking loved it.
I love anything with that like weird, uncanny, like Twilight Zone kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I love the Twilight Zone vibe of that.
Yeah, you get abducted by some fucking extra-dimensional creature that makes you raise its baby. That's some weird shit there. In a fake suburbia that there's no escape from.
That's probably one of my favorite horror. It's like, is that a horror movie? Yeah, I guess it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's psychological horror.
Right, it's horror.
But
sci-fi horror.
I mean, yeah, I was really into that. And I'm trying to think of like what my favorite One of these days, I'll probably have to make like a list of my favorite horror movies of like the last 10 years or the last 20 years or something like that. One that's come up, like everybody knows, I love Hereditary. I love that movie a lot. Another one that that I was super, super into, I think, did I review it? I can't remember. Was The Invitation. If you guys haven't seen The Invitation, that one was also fantastic. That was a movie, very psychological horror. I don't want to spoil anything about it, like where it goes, because it's way, way better if you don't know what's coming. But that was that movie, I was just like on the fucking edge of my seat the whole entire time. That was one of the tensest movies that I ever sat through.
They're talking about Vivarium now, saying it's a good one. Yeah, Vivarium was fucking weird. I was up there with almost like The Thing kind of situation, but very different in a way. Well, how do you describe that bitch?
But see, I love movies like that.
Imagine if the Predator was a rapist and made you take care of its baby. That's some weird shit, and you couldn't get away from it.
I mean, I loved everything about that movie. I loved the whole aesthetic vibe. Like I said, it came across like at first it's very much like a Twilight Zone episode. Yeah. But that's what I like. That's not a knock against it because I love the Twilight Zone. I love that whole vibe. I
had one dude say, "Well, yeah, it's a what do you call it?" He says, "It's symbolic for raising a child." It says, "No, there's no symbolism involved. It made you raise its child."
Yeah. There's no symbolism in that. No, it's not. It's not symbolism. That's not the right word.
Yeah.
It's not so much symbolism. It's analogous.
It wasn't even an analogy
to raising a child like a human child.
It made,
it's like, but it's an exaggeration of that.
It wasn't even an analogy. It made you raise its child. It wasn't an analogy. It made you do it. But the child that was making you raise was a counterfeit human.
Yeah.
Because that's what it had to look like in order to complete its life cycle. So it wasn't an analogy. That's what it was. It made you do that. It made you raise it like it was a human.
Yeah, but
so it could impersonate a human.
What that person meant, and I got this from the movie as well, was that yes, this is a symbiotic alien life form that's making, like literally, that's making you raise its offspring like a cuckoo bird.
Like a cuckoo bird. Right.
Which, they did kind of like bring that analogy into it. But they're also making, making an analogy to raising a human baby and you like aging and dying and shit like that. So it was like a parallel.
Kinda, but the thing is though, is it wasn't symbolic in that way.
I said, symbolic, that's not the right
analogy.
Word. That's not the right word.
Making you raise its baby, and you were raising it like a human. It was forcing you to raise it like a human, and it accelerated your life cycle. Because it was feeding off of you.
Yeah.
Remember how they
like a human child does that too?
Yeah, but it was an alien child.
It ages you before your time.
Yeah, it was, and
which is why I never had fun.
That was the thing that fucking blew my mind, is that it got bigger, so it grew, and it grew quickly in a relatively small period of time. The parents were being fed. It did eat some stuff. But why did they die? They could have only died because it was eating them, like a parasite. Remember that?
Yeah.
And then he's digging to try to get out because that was his only way. And it kind of symbolized work.
Yeah.
In a certain way.
Well, and work that was like not productive.
Not very productive.
Sure.
Right.
And it was almost like analogous to...
like a factory job or something.
Like you working your whole life and like not getting anywhere because of it.
Right. But but the thing is...
You could read a lot of stuff into that shit.
But in a way...
You didn't have to, but you could.
But in a way, that's a great reproduction of human life to help this alien child to be more realistic in its lifestyle.
Yeah.
It was a false human child. That's fucking weird.
Well, and
great idea, and that was Irish shit. That's some Irish people that came up with that.
It was a little bit of
some weird shit.
I want to say too, it was a little bit of an. I don't want to say indictment. That's kind of too strong a word, but I think it was like a little bit of an indictment of the kind of idealized family life. We're gonna live like in a suburban life. We're gonna raise a baby. Everything's gonna be this and that. So it was kind of like making fun of that as well.
A little bit.
So there was a little bit of that too.
Well, it was a creature that wanted that lifestyle and that upbringing for its offspring, so it could be a fake human, but it was all accelerated and condensed into a small portion of time, which made it seem more brutal. But it still got the job done. It consumed both of those human beings, and it made a child that could pass itself off as a human to continue its life cycle in some other dimension. It was definitely in another dimension. It pulled the damn curb up and ran underneath it.
Yeah.
And they were falling through other dimensions. There was more of them.
Well, they were going in other houses.
Yeah, other houses.
The same shit.
There were more of them, kind of like a damn wasp nest.
Yeah.
And they were all together, but in different dimensions. Like,
God damn, that would be so good. We've seen it, so we saw it 2 or 3 times in the theater, and then we bought it, and we've watched it a couple times since then. And I like it better each time.
So this thing is like a parasite, kind of like a wasp, where it's fucking grabbing spiders and putting eggs in them, you know what I mean? And putting them in the net. It's kind of like that. But it's in another dimension. And then it begs to ask, well, how long's this been going on? Well, probably fucking tens of millions of years.
Yeah, you don't know.
It's evidently evolved alongside of us. It's not fucking from another planet. It's from another dimension, and it's always been here. That's some bizarre shit there. So I'm like going, that's another good alien. Not only was the Thing a good representation of an alien, and maybe the xenomorph, but that thing from Vivarium.
I mean,
that's actually more likely.
I love the concept behind that, and I love the aesthetic of that movie. It's just kind of like, we've seen it like probably 5 or 6 times at this point, and it never gets old. I always find like new shit in it.
It's a creature in a slightly higher dimension that can look down on you and do all this weird shit.
I mean, it's so great.
And put you in a damn nest with a dozen other human beings, and then
raise my baby, bitch.
And then they go out and do that shit.
My baby that just goes,
my baby
like screams all the time,
and pretends to be a person. And then when you look in the book and look at the static on the television, really what it is a big pattern. It's not physical, whatever it is. The kid was just a manifestation of that.
To be honest, though, like, when I was watching that movie, because, like I said, I don't have any kids of my own, and I never had any desire to. Yeah. So when I saw the kid in that, I was just kind of like, so, like, a regular kid, then? Yeah. I was just kind of like, that's, like, what every kid seems like to me, so it's not all that weird. That's, like, not alien. Strawdog78 says, I hate the term elevated horror. I kind of do, too. Not really sure who coined that, but, yeah, there's a lot of, that's a very loaded term. I get what they're saying, but elevated horror implies that horror as a genre is something that is not worthy of attention or worthy of... I mean, and I kind of feel like it's better nowadays than it used to be. Because, look, I grew up in the 80s, and people talked about horror like it was, that's like something only stupid teenage boys watched, even though I was really into it, too. And that's really, like, unfair, because horror, to me, I kind of feel like it's the best genre. They can do, because you can explore a lot of stuff within that framework, and I kind of feel like just saying that it's just slasher movies, or it's just these kind of, like, B movies or whatever.
Somebody asked if there's family horror. Yeah, there is. It'd be Goosebumps. Goosebumps would be family horror.
Wait,
Gremlins would be family horror.
What are we talking about? Like horror that family... Like, the whole family can watch? Like, kids and stuff? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. I think that's what he's talking about.
I mean, I'm not sure. Or are you talking about, like, horror as...
Between family
members? Because, I don't know. I can think of that stuff, too. But, yeah, so that does kind of bother me, because I feel like I said, it's better than it used to be. But I do kind of feel like there was always a stigma about horror as a genre. Like, it was somehow... not serious, or it was just like pulpy, or that was something that like teenagers liked, but you grew out of it. And I think that's really fucked up, because honestly, horror is such a wide umbrella. You can explore a lot of shit in horror that you can't really explore in other genres, maybe. And the thing about horror is that you can, like, cross-breed it with lots of other genres, too. And, horror fans will still watch it. Because we're generally a pretty open-minded lot. I'll watch pretty much anything, you know, as long as it has some kind of like horror element to it. I don't really care like what genre it is. But yeah, so I mean, I get what they're saying, that it's sort of like the term elevated horror. I guess they're just kind of saying, oh, we're going back to the, you know, the old days where it's more of like a slow burn, but they're just trying to like distinguish it from B-movie, monster movie, slasher horror, because I do kind of feel like some people maybe still have the misconception that when you say horror, you're talking about like gory stuff or like slasher movies or something like that, which is absolutely not the case. So they're just trying to like distinguish it. Probably not the best term, because it sounds a little pretentious or a little judgy. You know what I'm saying? But what are you gonna do? That's the term somebody came up with. I don't love it either, gonna say. Tammy asked if anyone had seen Snowpiercer. Yes, we've seen Snowpiercer. I've seen Snowpiercer. And yes, it was very good. Cheryl says, I just got Gretel and Hansel. Anyone seen it? We saw it in the theater. I didn't love it, but it was okay. Tom really did not like it. He thought that the whole thing should have been about the witch, and that the Hansel and Gretel characters were kind of boring, and like it shouldn't have been focused on them, which I kind of get that. I mean, it probably would have been better if it was more, because the witch was fucking awesome, but you know what I mean? Let's see. Cheryl says The Invitation is really good. Honestly, I just rewatched that movie again, like probably a month or two ago, and I liked it just as much as second, even though I knew it was coming. Although I will say, if you haven't seen The Invitation, it's better going into it not knowing what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Because I watched it, I think it came out in 2016. I watched it really not having any idea what direction it was going to go. And the whole time I was like on the edge of it going, oh my God, what the fuck is going to happen? And like, then when it did happen, I was like, holy fucking shit. It was like, yeah. So you don't really like expect how it's going to go. But that's one of my favorite horror movies from the last few years, for sure. Really, really good.
Connor Watslan, my buddy down in Tijuana, says Vivarium is a good movie, and the director, Lorcan Finnegan, has not made another one.
I thought he hadn't, and that's like really a shame.
Yeah. I'm going to call him. I'm going to tell him to make another one.
You're going to call him?
Yeah, I'm going to call him. I'll tell him to make another one.
Make another movie.
Yeah.
Vivarium was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Are you out there? Are you watching this?
It was a good movie, yeah.
That was, honestly... And it's like hilarious because we saw that in the theater, and we didn't really know... Because like I said, we were doing the matinee at the time, and we were just kind of like going and seeing everything. We were just going and seeing 3 movies a week, even like shitty ones. And I didn't really know what to expect with that, and I ended up like really, really loving it. And I thought that you probably wouldn't like it, but
I loved it.
Yeah, so you surprised me with that.
And I surprised Jenny on fucking Art of Self-Defense too.
I really thought you would hate that.
That's when I got into Jesse Eisenberg. So people are like, you like Jesse Eisenberg? No, fucking that dude actually, when he gets involved in these little projects, he gets involved in some really good movies. Eisenberg, all right. I respect his judgment about what kind of project to get involved in. If you haven't seen Art of Self-Defense, it's a great movie, okay? This thing is coming from the most soy fucking... This motherfucker who wrote this movie is just soy as shit, all right? He's afraid of masculinity. And he's afraid of warrior masculinity. He starts to talk about a fucking karate dojo. And here's the thing. Coming out of the military, fucking, you know what I mean? I was in real good infantry units. First in the 506, first 327 recon. He starts talking about what a warrior cult is. And even though this movie is fucking bizarre and funny, it is absolutely accurate. He called it. That's what it is. And yeah, he tries... I don't want to say he tries. He does have kind of a cynical view on it. But it's still accurate. It's accurate. That's what it is. So he kind of accurately called it about what a warrior cult is.
Well, sometimes like, people that are outside of it,
you're right, yeah,
have a better perspective on it than somebody that is inside of it.
Yeah.
Because you can't really see all of the kind of like nooks and crannies of stuff if you're inside of stuff.
And what's funny is that he kind of bags on it, but also kind of reinforces it at the same time. And he's using karate as an analogy for what he's talking about. Karate is just a symbol for what he's talking about. But in the end, the honor of karate is saved. You just got to see the movie to understand it. And he is correct. He's correct about the lessons. Okay, I'm big into fucking philosophical and moral lessons that things teach. But for me, morality or true morality are ideas that work in nature. Things that really work. If it doesn't work, then it's not true. It has to be something that works. Something that survives the test of nature and time. And I gotta say, this director, fucking the guy that wrote this and everything, yeah, he's right. He's right. Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, there's a lot to learn from it. There's a lot to learn from it. And he called it. I'm gonna watch that bitch tomorrow.
Well, like I said, you have to think too that sometimes people that are artists, you don't necessarily have to experience something to understand something.
What it is, right? Yeah.
And sometimes, like I said, you have a better perspective on it from the outside. Not always. But sometimes, if you have particular insight, you do.
What he's doing is he's retelling the story of the Black Dragon Society. You go, what the fuck is the Black Dragon?
We did a show about that, yeah.
You could. When I was a kid growing up, we were looking at fucking DC and Marvel comics. They always had a fucking ad in the back talking about a program that would teach you the Dim-Mak Death Touch. Dude from the Black Dragon Society.
Dude, I would so abuse I would so abuse that if I was.
He was this white dude with a fro. What was that guy's name?
Who, from the Black Dragon Society?
Yeah, from the Black Dragon. Start with the D.
I'll remember it in a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have notes.
Draco.
No, that's Harry Potter.
It was this fucking... Okay, I'm gonna look it up right now. It was this martial artist, and he really was a martial artist, but the motherfucker was crazy. Okay. And that's what the story is not directly about him, but that's what they're talking about. They're talking about it in slightly different forms. We're trying to remember what that dude's name is.
Javier Melendez says, Jesse Eisenberg is a cool dude. My father saw him on the street in Manhattan and said, hello, you're from the movies. And my dad said he was mad cool and friendly. And chatted for a second. Yeah, I mean, everything I've heard, I don't think I've ever heard anything bad about him. Although, it's not like I go looking for shit. But he always does seem cool. And he's always good in, like, all the movies. You should probably still, like I said, you should see The Social Network. You would probably like that. Where he plays Zuckerberg. He plays, like, the founder of Facebook. So he was good in that as well. I think I saw that in the theater also. Now that I'm thinking about it. That was a while back.
Count Dante.
There you go.
Count Dante. Count Dante was the name of the dude. I'm going to show you Count Dante.
Cheryl says we should do a watch party. In the sense that, like, we watch something with everybody. And, like, then we commented on it in real time. We should probably do that. I should maybe figure out how to do that one of these days. Because to be fair, sometimes at night, like sometimes after the shows, like we'll watch something. Because I was like, well, let's just watch something that I don't really have to think about. Like something we've seen before.
Yeah.
Or something that's like shitty or whatever. Like I'll usually watch like a Riff Tracks episode or something.
Okay.
And when we do that, sometimes... we make some really, really funny fucking comments. I mean, I'm just saying, like, from our point of view, like, it's really funny. And I was just kind of like, every now and then I feel like, maybe, man, we should, like, have had this live stream because it's, like, sad that it's, like, wasted. Because we said some funny shit.
That's the dude I'm talking about. Count Dante from the Black Dragon Society, the deadliest man alive. You can buy his training manuals to the back of the comic books.
He's the deadliest man alive.
Yeah, but that was a real man. And he really did get in a lot of fucking trouble with martial arts. He was he had a dojo in Chicago. And he had a bunch of dudes that were kind of like Black Panthers that fucking trained underneath him. He was the only dude that would fucking train like Black Panther type dudes. He's a white guy, but he had a big afro and shit. All kinds of shit went down with the fucking police department. He blew up another dojo. It was called the Dojo Wars of the Chicago Dojo Wars. Blew up another dojo. Fucking attacked another dojo. One of his students fucking stabbed another dude with a sword and killed him.
And y'all thought Cobra Kai was exaggerated.
Fiction? No, that shit really happened. From the Chicago Dojo Wars, it was Count Dante. Okay.
Karate dojos fighting.
Yeah,
each other. It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, and he was a hairdresser. And he would write these books about he was a man of creation and destruction. That he could create beautiful hair and he could fuck you up with his hands. It was a wild story. Okay, and it was all true. Okay.
Sorry, I was thinking of that Eddie.
But the movie fucking Art of Self-Defense is about a situation like that. Okay. But it's deeper and it's a lot more instructive. There's a lot more fucking lessons to learn about violence and how violence can come back on you and how to train a motherfucker to be a badass and how to take things from people to make them meaner and how to change people. And then where did these bad motherfuckers come from?
Hi, Pokey.
What were they like before they were bad motherfuckers? The cycle of bad motherfuckers. But it's a great movie, and the dude who directed that with Jesse Eisenberg, they called it. That's exactly what it is. That's it.
Well, that's why it was so funny to me.
Jenny was like, he's not going to like this movie. I'm sitting there and just absorbing it and learning.
Well, because...
And when I got done, I was like, that's a masterpiece.
You have a thing.
That's a masterpiece.
That anytime anyone is quote-unquote soy in a movie, which I hate that terminology. I can't believe that I had to say that out loud.
Soy as fuck.
But anytime somebody's like that, he's usually like, oh my God. And he gets all like upset about it.
That's not true.
So... No, it is. And so when we were watching that movie, I was just kind of like, oh, Jesus Christ. It's like I was thinking it was funny, but like the whole time I was thinking I couldn't really enjoy it because I thought he was like hating it. But then, so I was surprised at the end that he actually like really dug it. Tila says, yeah, they're trying to set up a watch party for us to do. Everybody wants to watch a movie with us together. We'll all watch a movie together, like a watch party. Well, yeah, we can set that up.
Well, we have this LAN cable going, so that will help.
And, yeah, we can watch... I mean, like I said, we can just watch one on this end, and then, everybody can watch the same one as us.
Right.
I don't know what one you guys are going to pick, though. I mean, is it going to be something... It's probably better to be something, like, kind of bad, but fun. Yeah. You know? Those are, like, the most fun ones, I think.
Yeah.
Cheryl says, hi, Pookie. Yeah, she just, like, came and went over here and, like, licked my fingers, and then she was like, okay, I'm off over here now. Eating her wet food.
Murder Hornet says that I'm an expert in a dim mock. The dim mock was the death touch. And that shit goes back to the 70s where you just you hit somebody and they don't die right away. They might die a week or two later. Of course, that gives you a lot of leeway. Dude could die in a car accident. He goes, yeah, it's because I fucking hit him
I did that
5 weeks ago.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did that shit 5 weeks ago, Steve. That's what a badass I am.
Yeah, that's like some fucking...
But, that's 2 movies for you that if you guys haven't seen it, I know we got some people that fucking give weight to our recommendations. You want to see Bavarium? And you want to see Art of Self-Defense. They both have Eisenberg in it, but they're both different directors. They're both masterpieces. And they came out in the same year, if I remember correctly. I was blown away. I was
it was either the same year or like maybe a year apart. I can't remember.
Right, I was blown away. I love those movies.
Kind of Aslan brings up Ashita Kim.
Ashita Kim's another motherfucker. The thing is, though,
that's one of my favorite things ever. Him like sneaking around outside of like a modest suburban home, pretending to be a ninja.
Yeah, there's a big difference between Ashita Kim.
Hilarious.
Ashita Kim.
That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
If you guys don't know what Ashita Kim was a comic book ninja. He would sell ninja training manuals out from the back of the comic books, and he would sell VHS tapes back in the 80s. And then they are on YouTube. You can find them.
Oh,
People
yeah.
have copied and put them on. They're the most ridiculous things ever. They're things that would never, ever fucking help you at all.
They're priceless.
You know.
Seriously, priceless.
They would just never help you. And he's a fucking long-haired, dweeby, white dude in a fucking fake ninja outfit trying to... He's LARPing. He's fucking live-action role-playing as a ninja. It's something that maybe a 13-year-old boy might be impressed with, but no, there's nothing there. You know what I mean? He's fucking creeping underneath the windows and
back in
how
the
to
80s,
sneak, and there's no sneaking. Okay.
Back in the 80s, I kind of feel like, well, I'm going to like take a bunch of money from 13-year-olds and advertising in comic books. Although, Ashita Kim, I will say, I think he actually did believe his own
I think
bullshit.
he believed it.
I think he believed it.
I think he believed his own shit.
He seemed to.
Right. And but there was a big difference between, say, Count Dante and Ashita Kim. Ashita Kim believed his own bullshit, but Ashita Kim weighed 125 pounds to get his ass beat. Okay,
I could beat.
He
Ashita
would get
Kim
his ass
Come on.
beat. All right.
Even back in the 80s.
Right.
When I was 10, I would have beat his ass.
By all fucking accounts, though, Count Dante could fight, and he got kicked off of movie sets. Because they had him on movie sets in exchange for fucking Bruce Lee, and he wouldn't pull punches. He'd fucking hurt you, okay, on camera. So they had to get rid of him. He was a lunatic. Count Dante was a lunatic, but he could fight, and he could train other people to fight. It was full contact martial arts, kung fu type stuff, kind of like prototype, very much prototype Ultimate Fighting. All right. And he was basically kind of like a gang leader up in Chicago. If you disrespected his dojo, he'd come and put a bomb outside your fucking dojo, try to blow it up. He took that shit seriously. Yeah. But it's funny when you think about it.
It is very funny.
It's very funny when you think about it, because what you're talking about is Cobra Kai.
Well, like
That's
I said,
exactly what you're talking about.
Sometimes, like, I love Cobra Kai, okay?
Yeah.
Like, we watched, like, all seasons of it. And sometimes you watch it and you're like, this isn't all that believable. But then I think about all that.
Count Dante and shit, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
This is actually believable.
Yeah.
People aren't really that stupid.
Yeah.
They will fight over the stupidest shit.
Imagine live-action role players, LARPers, that were LARPing about being kung fu masters. But they actually they actually would fight, and actually were pretty good at fighting within the fucking confines of kung fu, I guess you could say. And they would hurt you and fucking set bombs and fucking send students to come stab you. Okay, but you still deal with LARPers, but they're doing it for real, and that's what Count Dante was.
Well, I mean, nobody.
And he was a hairdresser.
Can't trust nobody. Just saying.
He was a hairdresser.
Can't trust nobody.
With a big old afro. Yeah.
But
there are some what do you call it? Interviews with some of his students that were still floating around on YouTube, I guess 5-6 years ago. And they had a couple of black guys that were his students, and they said that he was fucking great. They liked him. That he was, in those days up in Chicago, he was really one of the only dojos that would take black students.
Yeah,
most of the others
there was
wouldn't.
like a whole
So he was kind of, in a way, an innovator in that way. That if you were black and you wanted to fucking learn martial arts, you had to kind of go to Count Dante. That he would, because they were real stringent about who they would train, because this is like the selling point is that this is some deadly secret shit that only the Chinese knew about.
That shit still works nowadays. What are you talking about?
White people really
shit. Nobody wants you to know
this. Yeah.
Oh, everybody's gonna click on that.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody doesn't want me to know that. Look, if really nobody wants you to know that, it wouldn't be on the internet as an ad. Just a pro tip.
Not only were white people not supposed to know it, definitely black people weren't supposed to know about it. That was the fucking selling point back then. But no, he had black students, and fucking they said that his dojo was great. They did full contact fucking fighting and worked out and beat the shit out of each other and And, we're proud to be in there. But, look, let me nip this shit in the bud. Is Kung Fu better than MMA? No. Fucking mixed martial arts and fucking these guys that do shit now, they would fuck those dudes up. Okay? Because MMA is really what Bruce Lee was envisioning. Okay, back a long time ago. A style without a style. A style that just worked. That it wasn't within the confines of, say, Kung Fu or karate, or it was just a fighting style that actually worked. Well, that's MMA. That's MMA. And when I was a kid, something like MMA would have been, you would think that it'd be criminal or illegal to do that. We didn't realize that. No, you could go into free-form fighting. You could do it. But it would have seemed, MMA, if you were to fucking take me back, Gramthars will tell you too, man, because we grew up together. Fucking, if you take me back to like 1986 or something, or 85, and fucking explain MMA, what MMA was, I would think that something like that would be illegal. Because we only knew boxing and maybe some, you know what I mean, fucking, we got Taekwondo, karate. That's something like MMA, that might be fucking illegal. That'll kill you. And that's where these movies like Bloodsport came from. Where fighting without any rules. But there were rules. You know what I mean? There were rules. It's just that they weren't within the... They weren't rules with... Nah, don't worry about it. Maybe I'm just going on too long about it. It was just another time. MMA would have seemed to be kind of illegal back in those days. Like, oh, I can't do that. I remember when fucking Ultimate Fighting came out and cage fighting. People were appalled. They were appalled by that shit. That ended up becoming MMA. And some of those guys
everybody's just kind of like, okay.
Right. But Ultimate Fighting, I think some guys actually got killed in Ultimate Fighting. But people got killed in boxing. It's just they don't really. I mean,
honestly, if you go into it knowing that is a possibility,
it's a sport like any other.
Yeah, I don't really.
Christopher Reeves got killed fucking jumping his horse. Okay, in the English jumper fucking arena. Well, they didn't get killed.
I mean, if you're an adult, if you're an adult and you know that is a possibility, and you are cognizant that might happen to you, then I don't really have a problem with it, to be honest. It's your choice. So, they're talking about everybody really seems to want us to do like some watch party shit. Which, like I said, I've been thinking about that for a while, so maybe we should. And Tila says, all drinkers in the chat must line up their drink of choice for movie night. Yeah, we could even do like themes. It'd be super fun. We could pick some movies, put it to a vote. Tila is recommending Ed Wood.
Yeah.
Tammy says Velocipaster.
Yeah, Velocipaster.
I mean, you guys know how much we love Velocipaster.
The thing is, though, is that if you watch a live... When you watch we can't put the movie on the screen.
Well, no. We don't do that. Like, because we could watch it... Like, I could put it on that computer or something. Right. We could watch it, like, over there.
Because we get a fucking strike. Yeah. Right.
I mean, if everybody else was watching it at the same time, we don't have to have it on the screen.
Right.
That's all, Because, you don't want to get demonetized. But we could just be, like, watching it in another window, or I could put it on that computer right there, and we could watch it, and everybody else could be watching it also. So we could kind of all be watching it at the same time. And, that might work out. I mean... God damn, I love Velocipaster. Every time somebody brings that up, that was like.
I don't think I have that on Blu-ray, do I?
No, I'm pretty sure it's still on Tubi. You can watch that. Yeah, Cheryl says something like Flesh for Frankenstein for the watch party, or I'm sure Tom would have some ideas, but Jenny's taste is top notch. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I could probably come up with something. Honestly, it might be good to see something that we haven't seen before, so we can react to it in real time.
Now, T asked, wasn't Petey Wheatstraw doing kung fu back in the day? Yeah, he was.
Oh yeah.
In the 70s, everybody was into this kung fu. It was just like some new shit, and you're like, oh wow. I guess if you learn that, you can kick anybody's asses. It was like buying a gun. So it was white dudes and black dudes very much into this, like, well, this kung fu thing, come from China or whatever. If you know that, then you're almost like invincible. So they just kind of took that and ran with it in the movies. So Petey Wheatstraw, well, I don't know if that was in P.D. Wheatstraw or was that was actually.
We just watched. Okay, we watched P.D. Wheatstraw, The Devil's Son-in-Law.
Yeah, that was good. But I don't know if Kung Fu was in that one.
Little bit though.
It was most of it was in.
Most of his shit had like.
It was in the other movie that he did. Fucking. What was the name? What was the movie? He comes out of prison, becomes a fucking pimp. And he's a secret agent. Shit. I think that's where he mostly did the Kung Fu.
Dolomite.
Yeah, Dolomite. Great movie. The blaxploitation. We got black product. It was just, it was kind of like White Lightning and Gator. You know what I mean? It was white product. It was the same shit.
Redneck product.
Yeah.
Well, you're just making things for a specific audience.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
You're giving people what they wanted to see.
Sure. Sure. Murder Hornet Return says, I took shrooms hours ago. I'm surprised they're still hitting me.
Yeah.
So, he's tripping on shrooms.
Yeah.
Do we look weird right now?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Tia comes in. Kung Fu was in Dolomite. Yeah. Kung Fu was in Dolomite. Because Dolomite was a ghetto secret agent and a pimp. Yeah. So he has to know Kung Fu. And he also had a fucking submachine gun. Kind of like a California version of an Uzi. I forgot.
It's like a backup,
Yeah.
Well, I do kind of feel like, after... I mean, Bruce Lee movies were massively, massively popular.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like in the 1970s, after everybody saw Bruce Lee movies, every, exploitation movie after that had to have Kung Fu in it.
Yeah.
Because that was just what you did. It didn't even matter if the movie's about Kung Fu or not. You had to put, some fucking Kung Fu in there. Because that's just, fucking what it is.
Now, Dolomite really was the predecessor to the Eddie Murphy movies. Okay. Eddie Murphy was really redoing Dolomite just for a more modern audience. And that's what me and Graham grew up on. We were watching fucking Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. 3 was okay, but not as good as 1 and 2. And, I was big into Eddie Murphy. I just thought his movies were fucking great. I mean, I was watching his shit up until even recently, but I liked fucking Vampire in Brooklyn and fucking The Golden Child. Man, I have The Golden Child. Me and Jenny watched that not too long ago.
Honestly,
just good movies.
I loved The Golden Child growing up. I saw it a million times.
Yeah.
When I watched it again recently, I didn't love it as much as I used to, but it's still a good movie.
Trading Places. I need to get that one. I don't have it. But fucking Trading Places is a good one.
I mean, The Golden Child is such a weird premise.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like there was
this Indiana Jones.
Yeah, there was this whole thing. I guess it was the whole Indiana Jones thing. But in the 80s, there was this whole thing. It's well, we're going to do a regular adventure movie, but then we're going to have all this weird mystical shit. You know what I mean? Big Trouble in Little China, stuff like that, where it seems grounded in reality, but then they're oh, never mind, magic exists. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It was very bizarre. Very bizarre.
A lot of people have forgotten the significance of Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy basically single-handedly saved Saturday Night Live because
he was easily the funniest.
Saturday Night Live was gonna be canceled. Basically, it sucked, and then he showed up and basically saved it because the old crew had left at that time. I remember when all that shit went down, and then his stand-up. His VHS or VCR fucking stand-up shows fucking Delirious and everything. And Raw. They were great at the time. They didn't age well. They're not as funny as they used to be, but...
Well, no comedy is. Yeah, well, hardly any.
All comedy doesn't age that well. But I remember they were fucking hilarious in those days because he would say things that people wouldn't say back then. He was the original kind of shock jock in a certain way. He would shock you about what he would say. And,
although, gotta say, Richard Pryor was he was following in Richard Pryor's footsteps. Yeah. And he, acknowledged that. Yeah. He was a big fan of, Richard Pryor.
Yeah, and he also said that he said that Bill Cosby was trying to stop him from doing what he was doing. But, Eddie Murphy's stand-up was okay. I liked it. But it just, man, his movies, for me, was what I remember.
Well, he was just such a charismatic... his personality was just so...
He was a dude you could see yourself hanging out with.
I mean, yeah, and like his charm was just very infectious.
Yeah.
Which is you don't see that a lot in he had a real star quality to him.
Yeah.
Which you don't really see in a lot of people. He's very natural. He's very natural. That kind of charm just like came across.
Yeah, well, he was young. He was a good-looking guy. He was fucking swift. You know what I mean? He could come back with some cool shit, and he came up with some good ideas, and people loved him. You know, and he got. Some people say, you know, when he came up with his own film, when he had his own studio, he started to get a little too family friendly, and he kind of to lose his edge. And I understand that, you know, Dr.
Well, he did do a lot of he did the Haunted Mansion. He did like a lot of kind of like Disney-ish.
But it wasn't bad. That material was not bad material. Fucking Coming to America was still great. He had a lot of good solo projects. He did get a little fucking sedate, but he made a comeback. That fucking Dolomite movie that came out.
Dolomite was my name. Yeah,
Dolomite's my name. I got that bitch on Blu-ray. That's a fucking excellent movie.
God, that was so good.
Yeah. Now the sequel to
Coming to America.
Coming to America was good. It was PG, but it was good.
I mean, it was all right. It was all right.
Man, the fucking king. Fuck, you know what I mean? Fucking James Earl Jones, fucking his comeback tour in that character was fucking, he just knocked it out of the park. The king willed himself to die.
Yeah.
You see, here this is what we're talking about. The king of Zamunda, death didn't happen to him. No. He allowed it. He arranged the whole thing of when he was going to die in the middle of the ceremony. He allowed himself to die.
Well, that was like his last. Like he was such a king that he was like, "I'm gonna tell you
when I'm gonna die." Yeah,
sure.
That shit was fucking great.
It's all like part of the program.
Yeah. I gotta re-see Coming to America again though. I haven't seen that since even back in the day, for a long time. And it makes, just talking about this makes me want to see Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. Just for Eddie and the soundtrack.
Yeah.
What was the other two that fucking we had? Fucking 48 Hours and then another 48 Hours. I got a 48 Hours. I don't think I have and another 48. I don't think I have the sequel.
We just have the first one.
I just got the first one.
Because we just like rewatched that.
Yeah, the 48 Hours, man, was a lot more raw than I remembered it. It was it was not, the edit wasn't very smooth. It was good, but it was not great. I want to see the sequel and see if it's any better. And it was okay. Not as good as fucking Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2.
I mean, Beverly Hills Cop is kind of like the quintessential.
It's like watching a music video.
I kind of feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, DJ Maniac is like laughing about Bill Cosby. You cannot say fuck in front of people.
Yeah, Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby, I will admit that like what was that special that he did back in the 80s that was on HBO all the time that was like really, really funny?
Yeah.
And I will admit that was really funny, and he was just kind of like, but in light of later allegations, now everything that he said is like creepy.
Yeah.
And honestly, the fact that he was so... the fact that he got so on black culture, like particularly like hip hop culture. Oh, these people with these kids with their pants around their ankles, blah, blah, blah. Anytime somebody's like moralizing like that, they got some like fucking shit to hide.
T says she liked Vampire in Brooklyn, but she's never seen Beverly Hills Cop. T, go ahead and check off. Go ahead and get the fuck out. If you never, okay, look, Beverly Hills Cop 3 is kind of a weak movie. It was not done right. Even Eddie himself says 3 wasn't very good. 1 and 2 were great. 1 is a huge fucking hit. 2 was even more polished. You got to see 1 and 2. Fucking Gramthars will tell you. Me and Mike Kowalski, man. Fucking, we would sit around. We'd watch that movie, both those movies, over and over again. We're growing. Fucking Eddie Murphy was our fucking hero. Fucking, we just loved that dude back in those days.
You know what's weird? It
was a Detroit-based movie about cops, and it had Eddie Murphy in it, and they're going to fucking California, so it's a fish out of water thing. And I had, of course, born in California, raised between California and Mississippi, and then moved to Michigan at that point, so I understood the difference between Detroit and California. All right, and that's what this movie's about. It's a fish out of water story about a black dude from Detroit who's a fucking good cop who wasn't always a cop, okay? He doesn't tell you what he was before, but you can read between the lines that he was a thug. Okay, before he was a cop, he was a detective, but he's got to go to fucking California. He's got to go to California to investigate who it was that killed his friend that he grew up with, his white friend. All right, and they were in organized crime together, and he's trying to figure out who it was that killed it. And it's just a great movie. Fucking Axel Foley was a great character, and we grew up with him, you know.
I mean, to be honest, I saw Beverly Hills Cop several times as a kid.
Yes.
I don't know why, but like when I was growing up, like for whatever reason, I was really like way into The Golden Child.
Yeah.
I saw that like way more times
Yeah.
than Beverly Hills Cop. I guess because it had that weird like mystical aspect to it too. Like
Yeah.
where there was like magical realism shit going on.
Yeah.
And I kind of like I said, I didn't really realize it at the time. You didn't really think about it at the time. But in the 80s, there were a lot of fucking movies like that. Like I said, Big Trouble in Little China and stuff like that, where it seemed like just kind of, on its surface, it seemed just kind of like a funny, like, adventure farce.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, by the way, magic is real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which...
Yeah, if you haven't seen fucking Golden Child, you gotta see that one too. But I would recommend seeing Golden Child after fucking Beverly Hills Cop. Because Beverly Hills Cop is not supernatural. All right.
Yeah, it's just like a regular...
Right, it's a regular kind of adventure movie about a fucking cop. But then later, when you get into fucking Golden Child, it's a guy who's kind of like Axel Foley, but he's just some dude he's an activist, and he finds missing children.
Yeah, that's his
And
thing.
he kind of makes fun of the fact on television that he finds missing children.
Which is a little weird, but okay.
Right, it's kind of weird. How do you make a living finding missing children? But he's kind of like Indiana Jones. He ends up going on this international adventure to find this. Well, it's a missing child and a dagger, an Ashanti dagger. But it's a relic, and he's dealing with demons and all kinds of stuff. It's a good movie. It's a fun movie, very fun.
Well, he's kind of like going to Tibet,
Jones.
right?
He's going to
Tibet.
Right.
To find a kid that's like, and there's like a whole thing about like it's a Dalai Lama type of situation.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, there's some supernatural shit going on too.
Cheryl told Tina to ignore me that I'm always kicking her out too. Yeah, I kick you out. if a person hasn't seen a key movie in the history of fucking America, all right, and I'm talking about just the South. This is just the entire Union, all right, because fucking we were watching that shit in the South and in the North. Fucking, Beverly Hills Cop and a Golden Child. That shit's just universal. That's some American shit right there. If you're in Europe, you have to see those movies. They will help you understand the character of America. America. All right. And then they were fucking great movies. And they were movies of their time. They were basically small movies. They had a lot of talent in it and very good writing. Made by a small team of people that had a vision. And it was to pump out these basically low-budget movies that had real tight stories that made a shit ton of money when they got to the box office. They made a lot of money. They had real good soundtracks, good editing, good stories, and very quick editing. And they were adventures. They were a product of their time, and they were good times.
I want to say, something that always kind of like fascinated me, and I know that we have some like Brits in the chat. I know this because I was married to a British person for a very long time. There is a subset of British people that were super, super into American action films.
Yeah.
In the 1980s. They fucking love my ex-husband, and he's not the only one because there was a shit ton of them, like during the video store era. They fucking loved anything that was like fucking Chuck Norris or Jean-Claude Van Damme or, Charles Bronson, rape revenge movies, any of that kind of shit. They fucking ate it up. And I just I thought that was like so fucking interesting. And it's like, I don't know, like from a sociological point of view, I find that very, very fascinating. Like I like those movies too, but I thought it was interesting how there was kind of like a subset of British people that were like really, really into those. And I guess I can see why, but I don't know. It's interesting to me that's like that was such a thing. My ex-husband was like super. He was Welsh, by the way, but he was super into Chuck Norris movies and Charles Bronson movies, and he was really really into like 70s rape revenge. Like he loved like Abel Ferrara, like Ms. 45 and all that kind of stuff, and so he loved like gritty like New York slasher movies. He loved like he liked Italian like Giallo movies and stuff too, like Lucio Fulci and all that, but. I just thought that was very interesting how he was really into like American action movies, and I kind of feel like there is still, from what I could determine from other like YouTubers that I've looked at, other British people of the same age as me or maybe like a little bit younger that are really really into like American 80s, 70s and 80s action movies and horror movies. And I don't know why I find that so interesting, but I really, really do. And I'm not really sure why that's a thing, but it apparently is. Wayne Dalton says, Golden Child has a really cool stop frame animation of a dancing Coke can. Wait, does it? Do I remember that? I can't remember. But we bought it. Like I said, I saw it like a zillion times because, I don't know, I've said this on the show before, but when I was growing up, my dad worked for Cablevision. So from very, very early, like from the late 70s, early 80s, we had all the cable channels because we got them for free. So we had HBO, we had Cinemax, we had Showtime, we had all the ones that were available. We had MTV from when it first started. We had all that kind of shit from when I was a little kid. And when HBO and Cinemax and shit like that first started in the early 80s, I think, as far as I can recall, they didn't have a lot of movies that they had access to because of like rights issues and stuff. So what they would do is that they would have like a handful of movies for every month and they would just like replay them. So sometimes you'd see like the same 3 or 4 movies every day pretty much, and then like on weekends they'd have some other ones. So I ended up seeing like the same movies. This is how I ended up seeing Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, Time After Time, the Pirate movie, Grease 2, movies like that. This is how I ended up seeing them like probably like 400 times because they just showed them like all the time. They were always on. Like every time you flipped over to that channel, it was always fucking on. But, so there was that whole thing.
T says she just moved Beverly Hills Cop up to number 1. Yeah, you guys see, you don't have to see 3, but 1 and 2 are fucking great. 2 is even better than 1, but 1 sets the stage. And then later after that, you want to see Golden Child.
It's a weird one.
It's a weird movie. Golden Child is kind of like Eddie Murphy doing Raiders of the Lost Ark and Big Trouble in Little China. It has that.
Yeah, it's like that kind of vibe to it. It's
like
that kind of vibe.
And they're great movies. These are small budget movies, but they're punching way above their weight. We loved them. We fucking loved them.
You know what's weird?
We loved them.
Movies like Golden Child. I saw that back when it came out, or whenever it came out on cable, like a year after it came out in the theater. I didn't think the whole premise of it, I didn't think about the premise of it being weird at the time. But when we rewatched it, like a few months ago, I was like, this is a weird movie.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to me that it was weird at the time that I first saw it.
Golden Child has adventure in it. It's got a romance. But it has paranormal, supernatural, and demonic elements to it. He's fighting demons from another dimension. But they're not Christian demons, they're Buddhist demons. Because he's dealing with stuff up in the fucking Himalayas. And the Golden Child is he's kind of a Buddhist religious icon. He's kind of like their version of the fucking, of the Messiah. And these Buddhist demons are trying to get him to basically desanctify himself by consuming blood. And they got him in a damn cage. You just got to see it. It's a fucking weird movie.
It is very
It has
weird.
a lot of dark tone to it in a certain way. But then you got Eddie Murphy in there kind of being... Imagine how Eddie Murphy would try to kind of be like like Indiana Jones
to deal with
this shit,
this weird fucking situation.
Yeah.
Which is how most of us would probably deal with being put into this situation.
Right, and he's got this
weird.
hot Tibetan chick that's helping him, and he's trying to hit, but she keeps turning him down. That's part of the fucking thing too. He's like, but and then she's like, she tries to brush his ass off.
I mean,
because they're trying to be Buddhist about stuff. But no, it's a great movie. Great movie. And
it is a lot of fun.
Great movie.
It's weird, but it's a lot of fun.
Came out when I was in high school, and we just grew up with it, and it was just...
Yeah, what year did that come out?
Probably about 86, 85, 86, around that time. Probably.
Yeah, it was something like that. I think I was in junior high or high school when it came out. I can't remember. Stardog78 says, Invasion USA is brilliant. Chuck Norris's 80s Christmas movie set in South Florida. It's glorious.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I've seen like so many fucking... What was the one where Chuck Norris... Wasn't there one where he went to hell at some point? I kind of feel like my ex-husband made me watch it. I don't... Like, I maybe blocked it out. But maybe y'all can help me out with that. Let me see.
Tina said that we recommended Time After Time too, and she loved it. Old Separate. You saw Time After Time?
I love that movie.
Yeah, Time After Time.
I will defend that movie to the death.
It's a good one.
It's so fucking good. Malcolm McDowell's in that shit. You know, David Warner is in it.
Yeah.
Playing Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper comes to 1979 in H.G. Wells' Time Machine. If that doesn't make you want to watch the movie, I don't know what the fuck is the matter with you. But it's really, really good. Mary Steenburgen is in it too. Yeah. So good. I love that fucking
Somewhere
movie.
in Time was good too.
That was Christopher Reeve, yeah. I really, really like that movie.
Time traveling motherfucker. Time traveling through his mind.
Mr. 88 says, I know I'm completely alone in this, but I loved Grease too and cannot sit through Grease. Honestly,
we said earlier, we liked it.
I love Grease, the first one, but I also love Grease too. And I know that people are trying to like maybe feel bad about that, maybe, but I love fucking Grease too. No, it's Grease good.
It's okay. It's good.
I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer, not a great singer, gotta say, but she fucking went at it with gusto. And honestly, I used to have the soundtrack of Grease 2 on vinyl. Yeah. There's some fucking great songs in there, Reproduction probably being the best one. But yeah, I honestly they had a song about bowling.
Yeah.
There was like, it's a fun ass movie.
Now Khan says he'd be honest, has never seen a 1980s Jeffrey Combs movie until he subscribed to this channel. I don't know which one you saw. If you saw fucking...
Well, hopefully it was Reanimated.
The entire Reanimator series is good. From Beyond is also good.
Oh yeah, that's also a good one.
Yeah. From Beyond.
I mean, anything with Stuart Gordon directing is going to be a good time.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Honestly, I will watch anything with Jeffrey Combs in it.
Now,
I fucking love Jeffrey Combs.
If you've seen those movies, you also want to see Dagon. Even though Jeffrey Combs isn't in it, it's that same studio, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Dagon is another fucking Lovecraftian movie. Real good.
It's one of the most Lovecraftian Lovecraft movies that I've ever seen. And I think like a lot of people shit on it like at the time, but I don't know why. I was like, to me, this seems like way more in the spirit of a Lovecraft story than a lot of other Lovecraft adaptations.
They got a cute Spanish girl in it who's like Queen of the Sea, trying to get back to Dagon.
I still want to do that as a Halloween costume one year.
You gotta have a wheelchair.
Yeah, well, I need to get a wheelchair. I need to make, like, the crown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
T saw Time After Time. Okay, good.
Yeah, she said.
Yeah, Time After Time is pretty good. I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
That was one of the movies. I saw that so many times on cable when I was growing up that I think, even now, I think I have it memorized. I mean, just the whole premise of that is so fucking great. Like I said... Jack the Ripper comes to 1979 in H.G. Wells' Time Machine. And H.G. Wells has to, like, come to 1979 to, like, stop Jack the Ripper from killing people in 1979. So it's a fish out of water story, but it's also, like, a serial killer story. And I don't know. I just thought it was, like, really fucking well done.
Yeah.
All the acting in it's fantastic. It's just, like, really good. And honestly, it has, like, a lot of, like, deeper meaning about Jack the Ripper, you know, and he even says this outright in the movie, right? Where it's like, you know, in 1888 when he was killing people, he was like, oh, back then I was an anomaly. But in 1979, like, nobody even notices. You know what I mean? Like, because violence is such a, like, big part of, like, the culture or whatever. So it's kind of like making, like, a bigger there's a bigger like thematic like thrust to it, and I thought that was like really cool. Actually, it's not like heavy-handed or anything, but I really like that they kind of went there with that.
Now, T, when you get on Beverly Hills Cop, I know you got that at the top. 1 and 2, you're basically dealing with a similar tone as Karate Kid, which is very positive, upbeat adventure movie. But this is a police adventure and a detective movie. You'll like it. You'll like. I think everybody in the fucking audience, everybody in the comment section will tell you Beverly Hills Cop series is fucking top notch. Now it has aged a bit. You know, these were low budget productions of the time, but the tone was just spot on, and the storytelling, the dialogue, the acting. Very much products of the time. Very positive, kind of feel-good movies that had adventure in them, and I guess you could say tension. There's tension in the story. Good guys versus bad guys. Nothing real complicated, though. You know what I mean? It's just kind of comfort movies. Great soundtrack, man. Both those movies. You might as well just listen to a badass 80s album. That's kind of like what it's listening to. Fun. A lot of fun. And then you'll like Golden Child, too. That's another good one. Those three. 1, 2, and Golden Child. That's your homework. You'll love it.
Yeah, Tila says, Time After Time was truly inventive. I loved it. It was a beautiful love story.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know what's awesome about that was that Malcolm McDowell and Mary Steenburgen met on the set of that movie, and they got married. So they actually, like, fell in love for real, like, while that was going on. And I think that really, like, came across, like, in the movie, which was nice. Rebecca says, all I remember movie-wise in the 80s is Star Wars and horror films. There was so much good shit in the 80s. There was so much good shit in the 80s. Though.
Just talking about those 3 Murphy movies, those who kind of tear up and shit. I want to see them tomorrow, man. Fucking, I'm gonna see.
He's getting emotional.
Getting emotional. Yeah.
Tila says Michelle Pfeiffer in What Lies Beneath. So good. Oh yeah. I've been wanting to rewatch that because I think I saw it come up on a streaming service the other day. I saw that in the theater, I think. And that was actually good because that was one of the first times that I'd ever seen Harrison Ford playing a bad guy. You know what I mean? And so it was really good. It's a thriller, and it was really, really good. So that's another one that I have to like rewatch. She also says, yeah, Dagon is really good.
Yeah, Dagon's great.
I mean, and somebody like I think DJ Maniac says that Dagon was a really good. Yeah, Dagon. Yeah. It's not an adaptation of the H.P. Lovecraft story Dagon. It's actually an adaptation of Shadow over Innsmouth.
Yeah.
But it takes like some stuff from Dagon, but it's mostly Shadow over Innsmouth is what it is. But like I said, it's one of the most. It's weird because they made so many Lovecraft adaptations. They made so many like Lovecraftian movies, and a lot of them don't give me the same feeling that I get when I read a Lovecraft story. Dagon was one of the first movies that said, this is how I feel when I read a Lovecraft story. This is very Lovecraft to me in the sense that this gives me the same vibe that I get when I read a Lovecraft story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it was one of the first movies that gave me that fucking vibe. And I'm not saying that like some of the other Lovecraft adaptations aren't good, because they are. But as far as the thing that gave me the same feeling that I got from reading his stories, Dagon is like up there. I think it's one of the ones that captured his Lovecraft's vibe, at least like for me, more closely than any other one. Kind of also, they're just talking about the Hellraiser movies. I think we've only seen the first 3. Phantasm.
Yeah, every Phantasm was good.
I liked all the Phantasm movies. I mean, obviously, the second one's my favorite.
Yeah.
But honestly, they're all worth watching.
Yeah.
They're all
T
worth
says
watching.
she's going to have fucking Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 on for tonight. You're going to love those movies. They're good. They're good. They're real good. They're just good, solid flicks from the time. And the fucking music. Man, it makes you want to see them now. Although I'd probably fall asleep in it as drunk as I am.
You probably would.
Yeah, I probably would. But I'll watch them tomorrow. They're just, they kind of bring back a time when I was young and watching this, and just you'll see. Tila you'll understand them when you see them. Yeah.
Let's kind of talk about that though, because I kind of feel like I like a lot of movies from the 70s and 80s. I like a lot of movies that I grew up with. But sometimes, not always. Like sometimes I've liked those movies the whole time and I still think they're good. But sometimes movies that I was really into in the 70s or 80s and I didn't see them for a long time and then I see them nowadays, sometimes I watch them now and I'm like, what the fuck was I even thinking? Or that wasn't as good as I remembered it being. So I don't know. I'm like really interested in how like nostalgia colors people's perceptions of things. Now, I'm not saying I don't think that's always the case, because a lot of movies from the 80s that I loved back then, if I watch them now, I still love them.
Yeah.
But some movies that I loved back then, but I haven't seen for a long time, and then I watch it now, I'm just kind of like, what the fuck was I even thinking? Like, that's terrible. But, you know what I mean? So I'm kind of interested how much, like, nostalgia... I don't know. I kind of feel like, as a person, I'm not a super nostalgic person.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's something that like really kind of interests me about movies, and specifically because I know people have like warm feelings about movies that they grew up watching. Yeah. And then sometimes when they watch them later,
you're like, what the fuck?
It's like not good.
Now T says she's gonna give a review of the fucking Beverly Hills Cop movies on the next stream. I don't think we've ever reviewed them. Have we? We probably should review them.
I don't think we have, actually. Maybe we should.
We probably should do a review.
Do you have all of them?
I got all 3 of them.
Oh, okay. I thought you did.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we should review them, because I want to see them tomorrow.
Well, okay, we can watch them.
We
can watch them tomorrow.
Because we did Charles Bronson. We did like 3 of those, so we should probably do those.
Well, do you want to do like each one? Like, okay, so
we'll do each movie separately.
Okay, so we'll do them separately. So we can watch them like so we can do one Sunday.
Over a period of about a week or so.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll watch.
That's fine. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, they're good movies. Boy, I was gonna say something about it to T.
Well, I was talking about nostalgia.
Okay, yeah.
In movies, and is that helping you?
Yeah, sometimes the nostalgia does not hold up, but in the case of the Beverly Hills Cop movies, it does hold up.
Sometimes
I've seen them recently,
I will say
and I was
too.
like, oh man, I saw them recently, and I'm like, oh man, these things are better than I remembered them.
Well, yeah, I will say too that sometimes I saw some movies on cable back in the 80s, and I was like, oh, that's good, whatever. And then like I rewatched it recently, I'm like, oh my god, that was like better than I remembered. Right. So some movies, while I liked them back in the day, and then I saw them nowadays, and I'm just like, now I watch it, and I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever. But some movies that I was like not super like a fan of back in the 80s, and then I watch it nowadays, I'm like, oh my god, that was a lot better than I remembered. So it's, I don't know. I like to think I'm trying to like stay objective about the shit, because I really don't want to be one of those people that just like stuff because that was what I watched when I was growing up. Yeah. Because that doesn't always mean that it's good. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm really kind of like cognizant of that. This is why I try to like watch stuff that I loved back in the old days. I want to watch it now because I'm just interested. I'm interested to see how I'm going to react to it nowadays, now that I'm an old fucker.
Yeah. Well, a lot of stuff I'm talking about here, I have seen it in recent times. It was better.
Yeah, same.
I've checked up on it. Right.
Most of the time, I think the shit is either still good, like it still like holds up, I still like it as much. Sometimes I like it better. Mm-hmm. On rare occasions, I watch stuff that I loved back in the old days, and then I was just kind of like, what the fuck was I thinking about that? Because that's terrible. Right. Not usually, though.
Well, it was kind of like going back and seeing fucking Trancers. Went back and watched Trancers, and that bitch was unwatchable. I was like, I can't believe
that was one that. See, I hadn't seen that back in the old days, and you kept talking about it. You're like, we need to watch that because that was something that like you were really into back in the old days.
Yeah, it was unwatchable.
I had never seen it.
And Scanners 2 was unwatchable. But I remembered liking that.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, and honestly, and also Howling 2. My sister's a werewolf.
Unwatchable.
I remember kind of liking that.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a favorite or anything, but I kind of remember liking it back in the old days when it was on cable. We tried to watch it again recently, and I'm just like, I can't watch this.
Yeah.
Like, I think after 15 minutes, we turned it off.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, I'm not wasting my time. But yeah. Most of the time, if I loved something, really loved it from back in the old days, if I watch it nowadays, it's usually still good. Usually. But, so that's good. I mean, like, my taste was at least decent when I was a child, so that's kind of something to be celebrated, I suppose. Cheryl says, Jenny is so easygoing, it's amazing. It makes me feel like such a bitch. And honestly...
No, she's a bitch, too.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Honestly, I wish I was more of a bitch. Because if you're... And I'm going to say, like, I don't mind being easygoing and laid back and shit, but it's like, you can't be, like, too much like that or people, like, fucking walk all over you. So you have to be, like, a little bit of a bitch or you're not going to, like, get anything you want in this fucking life.
Tina's only 34.
Holy crap, really?
I thought she was a lot older than that.
Holy shit.
Damn.
I feel so old.
Oh, that's why she doesn't know these movies we're talking about.
So old.
Yeah, you're a baby.
That's good. That's good,
You're a
though.
baby. Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, Uncle Tom's fucking
All ages.
Uncle Tom's teaching you history. Fucking go back and you'll see it. These are good movies. These are good movies. I mean, look, Jenny and I have spoken about this fucking many times. Every year a certain amount of movies come out. Theater, of course, movie theaters is part of American tradition, culture. It's like that in every country. Because of where we are over England and parts of Europe also, they work their way into this. Most of these movies fucking suck. Most of them fucking suck.
I mean, from every era.
Yeah, from every era.
From every era.
They come out, they're shown, people immediately forget about them. But there are some of them that you remember. And it's because of the place, the time, the way the culture was, who made the movie, the vibe of the time. So, a lot of times when me and Jenny will bend over backwards and say, look, watch this one or watch this one, these are usually iconic movies that fucking help you feel in your heart what those times were like, even if you didn't live in them. Now, you won't feel them the way we do because we were there. So we remember what the feeling was like. The only thing we can do is try to insert that feeling into you, and maybe you could try to vibe with it. But a lot of times you have to watch it a couple times to get that into you. But like we were just talking about Beverly Hills Cop. My interpretation of it is going to be different than yours because I was there at the time. But if you watch it a couple times and you get into the fucking music and the story, you'd be able to imagine it and place yourself back in those times. The feeling that is portrayed in these movies is accurate. Those feelings are accurate. That shit didn't happen, but that's what it felt like. It's fantasy. It's fantasy.
The thing about it, though, is I kind of feel like maybe,
yeah,
I have a better perspective on it because I like silent movies.
Yeah.
And I like stuff from like the 1920s and 1930s. Obviously, I was not alive back then, but when I watch those movies, I try to cast myself. I wasn't alive back then, so I will never know what it was like to live back then. But I do kind of like try to cast myself into that mindset while I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So maybe other people can do that too, like when they're watching stuff that was not, that's not like from when they were alive. Hugo says, I just saw Heathers.
Yeah.
It's pretty good still.
Yeah.
Heathers is so fucking good. Honestly,
good.
Heathers came out when I was in my last year of high school. So it was set in high school. So me and all my friends like really vibed with that. I was just like, oh my God, this is like, I can't believe somebody made this movie. It was just kind of like that.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy to see that like other people that didn't grow up in that same time period are still like vibing.
That's a weird movie. It's a good movie.
I mean,
it was a weird mixture of like teen movie and murder.
It's a very, very, very dark comedy.
Yeah.
Honestly, it reads a lot differently nowadays because nowadays we have a lot more high school shootings under our belt. than we did in 1990 when it came out. So it might hit different.
There's something about that movie and Lost Boys that for some reason they're totally different. Kind of, for me, I kind of associate the two. It might be just
Although Lost Boys came out 3 years before that.
Yeah.
87.
Okay. There's something about the way that they kind of associate those two.
Because I was in...
Lost Boys was good too.
I was a sophomore in high school when Lost Boys came out.
T, go ahead and put Golden Child in that queue also. Watch that one too. You'll like it.
Started 78 also mentions The Princess Bride, which is honestly, that's one of my favorite movies ever. That movie is so fucking good. You've never seen The Princess Bride, have you?
I think I have.
Did you see The Princess
Bride? Which one was
Bride?
that about? What was that about?
It's like a fairy tale, but...
Sounds familiar.
The Dread Pirate Roberts. He's like saving... Yeah. But it's like, it's a parody of like fairy tales a little bit. But yeah, it's really, really, really fucking good. It's really good. But Wayne Dalton brings up The Hidden from 1987.
I remember that one. That was the thing.
Great retro horror movie.
Yeah.
With Aliens the Thing and the mouths. Terminator. Yeah.
Remember that one? That was a good one.
I saw that as well.
Yep.
I think.
Hold on,
I saw that in the theater.
Let me go ahead and pander for some super chats. Fucking Jenny didn't get any super chats tonight. If you guys would, now is the time. If you guys want a tip, go ahead and drop it in the fucking.
Well, I don't know if it's working. Zach said it wasn't working.
He said it's not working. It may not be working.
Well, that was like a long time ago, so I don't know. That was on like with the other chats.
Yeah, we ain't getting anything tonight. It's okay though. Fucking, we'll have another stream later, but later on in the week, we got I got that fucking chana masala down there. Chickpea curry. And pork.
We bought an air fryer.
Yeah.
Which I was reading an article today. They're like, why do people call it an air fryer? It's not really a fryer. Yeah. It's like a convection.
It's like a convection oven.
Is what it is. So he made like a pork roast or like a pork shoulder. What was that?
No, pork tenderloin.
Pork tenderloin in it. And like he served that with rice and broccoli that had grown out back.
Yeah.
And that shit was fantastic.
Yes,
that was delicious.
Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you.
Okay. Look at you like crying poor.
Yeah, I'm crying poor. Well, it's a business, you know what I mean?
Thank you, Iain. Thank you. Tila says Golden Child.
Oh, here comes some more. Thank you, Tila.
We'll try to watch this weekend. It's a weird ass movie. It is weird.
Which one?
Golden Child. It's
not weird as you think it is. It's an Indiana Jones movie. It's
the context of the time it wasn't weird. I didn't think it was weird at the time, but when I watched it nowadays, I'm like, this is really weird.
Yeah, it has a lot of dark. It has a lot of dark undertones, kind of fucking satanic, supernatural shit. You got Eddie Murphy in a satanic occult movie, but he's kind of funny in it, and he fights demons. But I want a knife.
Scratching.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that more than anything else.
I want a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's just a lot of good shit. I want to see that one again. Good movie. Mumsy Nunspa was the fucking demon's name. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mumsy.
Charles
Mumsy.
Dance was that actor's name, I think.
Nunspa.
He was in a lot of stuff in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you'll like that one. I'm talking to T. T's a long-time friend on the show, but I'm saying everybody, those are good movies. And if you've never seen them, then you're really missing out on American culture. Fucking Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2
feel like there's a lot of
Golden Child.
It's kind of like, look, if you're in
very American.
Look, if you're into movies and you want to be kind of like up on movies in general. Thank you, David June.
Thank you very much, people. Thank you.
Then there are certain movies from every decade that you have to see.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like deficient a little bit in that. I do try to like see all the main movies from every decade. I don't have a lot of time, but I do try to like I said, I love silent movies. I love shit from the 20s and 30s, so I have seen a lot of stuff from then.
Yeah.
So I do kind of like try to, especially horror movies, I try to see all the shit from like the 50s, 60s, you know, even back to the 40s, 20s, whatever. So I try to see all that stuff. But there are some movies that you kind of need to see. And like the 80s,
Yeah.
I do kind of, you do kind of feel to be like up on all the cultural relevance or whatever. You do kind of
you will understand those decades. Thank you very much, Cheryl. It's okay, Cheryl. We know you broke. You can get us later, baby.
Yeah, don't
Everybody,
worry.
all the money's coming down.
We're not like...
We're not stressing y'all out. We're just trying to get Jenny some tips. Keep the show rolling. Supporting the show. Thank you very much. Everybody's coming through.
Cheryl says Betty Davis is badass.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes I watch those movies with like Betty Davis or something like that, and I'm just kind of like... I don't know. That's kind of like aspirational. Is that fucked up?
I don't know. What movies you talking about, Rebecca? She goes, I got the whole set. I love watching them. We don't know what movies you're talking about, baby.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elio.
Elio.
She's in on Elio.
Let me in on this train, too.
There you go. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
Wait, Strawdog 78 says, Tila, you haven't seen Beetlejuice.
She hasn't seen Beetlejuice? What the fuck? That's it. Shut this shit down. Shut the shit down. No,
I'm leaving. No,
yeah, we're leaving. We're leaving.
Just kidding.
No, that's another good one. That's another real good one.
Honestly, like I said, I forget sometimes.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you get old. You forget that some people are like younger than you.
Yeah.
And they grew up with a whole different like cultural zeitgeist and they haven't seen the same shit that you have. I mean, because to me, like in our the way we grew up, like Heathers, Beetlejuice, shit like that, that was like everybody had to fucking see that. I mean, I feel like if you were of a certain bent, as I was, and all the people that I hung out with, all the weirdos, everybody saw that shit.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Good movie. Good movie. Not my favorite movie from him, but it's a good movie. Good movie. My favorite movie from him was fucking Ed Wood.
I kind of feel like probably... I mean, it goes back and forth. I do love Beetlejuice. I do. Yeah. But Ed Wood, god damn, that fucking movie is so good.
Yeah, and it's not a fucking mainstream movie.
I saw that in the theater, too.
It's a real life story about Ed Wood, who's a fucking movie director. If you haven't seen Ed Wood, that's another one, but you gotta see.
I really do. I love it.
And it's all in black and white. Okay, and it's about a fucking movie director from the fucking 50s named Ed Wood who made these fucking Plan 9 from Outer Space and all these fucking low budget movies. And
I love it because Tim Burton clearly grew up with a love for these types of movies. He didn't try to cheap out on it. She's
not saying shit about movies anymore. No, it's okay.
Well, no,
it's good to know.
He approached Ed Wood, the man.
Yeah.
Even though Ed Wood was a flawed human being.
Yeah.
But he did approach him very sympathetically.
Right.
And he approached him as, like, a very well-meaning man. Like, you know what I mean? And so I think the movie, even though it's very funny and there's, like, some fucking fucked up shit in it, but it does have, like, a really good heart to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it work.
50s underground Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. And Ed Wood
People with, like, zero budget that were making movies in the 1950s.
Ed Wood was a real man. He was a Marine who fought on the island of Peleliu, saw a lot of action in World War II, wanted to be a horror sci-fi movie director, and he was a cross-dresser. He just had this...
When that was really not accepted.
He just fucking had... When he was under a lot of stress, he had to put on an Angora sweater and some nylons and
some panties.
Some shoes and some panties. And he had to keep all this hidden from his girlfriends. He was straight.
I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to wear, like, uncomfortable girl clothes. Yeah. Like, when they're... But, you know, you do
And he didn't have any teeth. He got his fucking teeth knocked out in the war, so he wore false teeth. And he had all these freaky friends, and he was friends with Bela Lugosi towards the end of Bela's life when he was a junkie. And and they would steal shit from studios to make movies. It's a great movie.
I mean...
Vampires
it's kind of
in the story. Yeah.
In a weird, fucked up way.
Ed Wood, the great movie, and an examination of the human spirit. And poor Ed was A good man. Real good man.
Yeah, he seemed like a good dude.
He's a good man. And
I mean, he did degenerate into, like, doing porn and shit later. But like I said, I don't even want to say that's degenerating because...
He just needed money.
Yeah. I mean, porn isn't that...
That's where the market was.
That suggests that, like, porn is, like, lesser, which it's not really.
It wasn't even the porn as you would know today. It was nudie films, which is topless dancing. Yeah. That's what he got into. Yeah. But that's where the money was at the time, and the money was going away, and he ended up dying in basically a little bitty L.A. apartment with fucking dog shit on the floor and everywhere, and, you know, he you know, fucking, his career didn't work out. But it's a really good movie about him. You know, real good movie about him.
It's a very loving tribute.
Yeah. Yeah. And
which
it's
I really
kind of heartwarming in a way.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's sad, but, yeah, I like that they didn't, like, Tim Burton didn't.
Yeah.
You could tell that he had a lot of love for the genre, and he had a lot of love for the man. Yeah. And so he didn't, like, want to exploit him necessarily. So he made this, like, lovely, kind of, like, heartwarming tribute, which is still, like, blackly funny.
Yeah. They're in there laughing about Plan 9 from Outer Space, and Cheryl says, yeah, poor dude died penniless.
I mean...
Yeah, he did. He died penniless.
Honestly, that...
But we could all go that way. We don't know how we're going to die.
Shit like that makes me really sad, because I kind of feel like I wish that Ed Wood had lived long enough to see
that his work
was like had a resurgence.
I grew up with seeing that shit on Channel 13 out in California.
Because think how happy that would have made
34 Channel 13 Monster Matinee. They'd put fucking Ed Wood movies on there like Plan 9, and they would
Bride of the Monster.
They would scare me as a kid in a way, you know, like 5 or 6 years, like, oh. But, you know what I mean? That was Ed Wood, California bullshit, and it was funny, looking back on it.
Did they ever show Glenn or Glenda?
No, I didn't see that one. No,
yeah, I'm pretty sure they probably never did.
That was the cross-dressing.
That was the cross-dressing movie.
No, they just showed the horror ones with Tor Johnson coming up out of the ground.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Fucking Tor.
But,
he was in fucking, what's that fucking other fucker's name? I'll think of it.
He was in fucking Land of Time Forgot. Great movie.
Well, he was in a lot of stuff. He was in Coleman Francis. He was in a Coleman Francis movie also, like as the Monitor.
Yeah.
So he was a wrestler.
Straw Dog says, I haven't seen Vivarium or a lot of these movies everyone's talking about. Yeah, okay. Look, if you haven't seen these movies, in the newer movie segment that I'm talking about, you want to see Vivarium and Art of Self-Defense. Okay. In the older movies, you want to see fucking Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. There is a 3, but that's optional. See Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, and then see Golden Child. And you'll be kind of up on what we've talked about a lot of stuff, but those are the main 5. You'll enjoy them. They're good. Those are good movies.
DJ Maniac says, even myself as a connoisseur of horror, I haven't seen everything I'm expected to have at my age, and I'm not about to start rattling them off like to and lose all my points. Honestly, I try to like see all the best stuff from every decade, but there are still some like gaps in my knowledge, but I'm trying to like catch up on it.
Now, Straw Dogs, you want to throw fucking number 6 would be Ed Wood. We're talking about it. Ed Wood's a good one too.
What was that, 94?
1994.
94, I think.
Yeah, that's Tim Burton. Fucking, who else is in that again? Johnny Depp. Martin Landau. Fucking.
Got an Oscar nom.
Yeah. Martin Landau.
Should have won. Yeah. I don't think he won. But
Martin Landau plays Bela Lugosi.
Because that was one of the roles that I forgot that was actually not the actual person.
Right. And it's supposed to be taking place in the 50s. It's all black and white. It feels like you're watching an old black and white horror movie from the 50s, and it's just these Hollywood losers trying to fucking Hollywood loser has-beens trying to fucking make a name for themselves in horror with no money.
Sorry,
it's great. It's a great movie.
Just thought of like Johnny Depp going, "We don't have a permit. run.
Yeah. They're stealing fucking props and shit from the theater, from studios.
I think I loved Ed Wood the same reason that I loved Dolomite Is My Name.
Yeah, Dolomite's my name.
Because I love scrappy underdogs.
Yeah.
Like, trying to, like, fucking piece some shit together and do some awesome shit, like, when they don't have any resources. Yeah. So, I think that's what, like, Ed Wood, like, really resonated with me, I think. Yeah. That's, I don't know, I guess that's why.
Tina says, yeah, I lost cool points tonight. Y'all look and learn about the movie, I guess. Nah,
I mean, you know, that's the thing. You're
young.
You're many years younger than us, and it's like, even I haven't seen all the movies I feel like I should have.
Right.
And I kind of feel bad about it. Not just movies, but books I should have read by this point. I've read a lot of the books you're supposed to read, but
34, you're a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you're not gonna know all
But dude, I'm almost 50, and it's just like I'm still
got 20 years on you.
I got stacks. I got fucking lists.
Yeah.
I got all kind of shit. I gotta like watch. I got all kind of shit I gotta read.
We came from an era where movies were a lot more important back then, because we didn't have social media. Our social media was these movies.
Well, there weren't a lot of other options.
Outlets and
sure.
Yeah.
So options, so movies were kind of like the way that you related to other. Well, movies and music.
Yeah.
That was kind of like
that was our social media.
Sure. So, it's not as important nowadays because everything is just so
everything competes with it.
Diffuse.
Yeah.
So I'll give like a lot of younger people a pass because it's like there's no way.
Or you could keep up with all.
There's no way you could keep up. I can't keep up with it.
You're right.
I haven't even seen all the shit that came out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm still like discovering shit. It's like, oh, this 80s movie. I never saw that.
Yeah.
Gotta see that.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there's still like a lot of shit I gotta catch up on. So I can't like shit on fucking millennials or younger for not having seen that because I haven't even seen the shit. You know.
How long have we been streaming? This stream held up, man. That's what it was, is that fucking LAN cable. LAN cable's what that was. Made a big difference.
Well, now we know.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I will order a longer one.
Yeah, or a patch cable.
Or a patch and like another...
another 5-10 feet.
Because that really does seem to have...
Yeah, that's what it was.
Helped.
That's what it was.
So that's good.
Why don't we go ahead and shut this down, and I'll start making us something to eat.
You gonna make some food?
I got some chana and some more pork down there.
You guys, this air fryer that we bought,
it's
really paying dividends.
Yeah.
You made all kind of good shit in it.
Yeah, I'm going to get another freezer, too. That refrigerator down there is not working well.
Yeah, we have another refrigerator in the garage.
Yeah.
And
I just need the freezer, not the refrigerator.
It's old, and it's starting to, starting to shit the bed a little bit.
So I got to get another refrigerator, another freezer. There's a freezer I can get for $400. I think I'm going to get that. But it'll be here in 2 weeks, which means we got to make that turkey. I got all the pork in here.
I'm all right with that.
That turkey's not fucking fully frozen. I mean, it's partially frozen, but you can't store it like that. I got to make that turkey.
Well, so we can just eat the rest of the pork.
The pork's frozen. No, the pork that I made.
The pork you made. That's what I'm talking about.
We'll take that.
We'll eat that. How much of that is left?
About that much.
Okay, so we'll eat that over the next couple days.
And we'll make a turkey.
Then make that turkey.
Yeah. Make a turkey.
Because I'll eat turkey.
Okay.
All week long. I don't care. I love turkey.
That turkey was from last Thanksgiving. That's frozen. Okay. They were cheap, so I
make
bought
sandwiches.
2 of them. Yeah.
I'll throw it on salad. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I'll eat it for fucking weeks.
All right.
It's fine.
All right. I gotta make some stuffing, and I gotta make some. I'm gonna get some stuffing.
Make everything out of that old fridge.
Okay.
And then we'll throw that old fridge away.
Yeah.
And then get a new freezer.
Yeah.
And then
got to.
Yeah. So there's that.
Yeah.
All right. So, hallelujah.
Yeah.
This fucking thing held up. Yeah. I guess because we did the cable.
It's the cable.
I'm gonna get a longer cable.
Now we know.
It's that.
So
I'm gonna get a longer cable so I can go all the way down to downstairs. Yeah. And hopefully that will help out. But yeah, I'm very happy that worked out.
We'll call them and have them put another fucking thing up here.
Up here, because
that would help too.
Probably, yeah, it would absolutely.
Have them put another fucking router up here.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Call them and ask them if they can call them tomorrow first and see if they can put another router and how much that would cost.
All right. Well, I'll see if they're there because tomorrow's Saturday, but I'll see if they're if they're home.
Because that's the correct way to do it. Would it be to put another? I'm drunk. I'm trying to talk. I'm fucking hiccuping and the correct thing to do would be have them put another router up here.
Yeah, but we'll see. I don't know if they can do that.
Okay.
But if they can't, I'll just get a longer one of those.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Yeah, had a good time this evening. I could go on and on.
Go watch them movies. You'll love them. We'll probably watch that tonight. We'll see. I would love to see that.
Which one?
Beverly Hills.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
I would love to see that.
We can do that.
Yeah.
It's
only a Golden Child.
It's only 9 something.
Yeah, it's early.
So it's like, it's fine. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with us this Friday evening. And we will see you on Sunday afternoon talking about some movie. We don't know what one yet, but we'll figure something out. So thanks for dropping by. Thanks for super chats. And we will see you guys on Sunday afternoon. Have a good weekend. We'll see you later. Bye.